Russell Wilson, my bar is pretty high for weirdness. Like, this just feels like a Tuesday for Russell Wilson. It's so funny because he's so straight-laced, but then he has the most bizarre little social media things you'll ever see.
That's what I want to know about Russell's marketing. What's the angle? What's the philosophy we're going for with this guy?
I'm unlimited.
He's got that self-help vibe. You know how Tony Robbins comes off as kind of creepy?
That's the lane he's trying to go in?
That's the lane we're in right now.
Wow. I'm embarrassed for him.
Be careful, though.
Yeah.
It's like Wedding Crashers, and she's like, I'll find you. Remember that?
Yeah.
Be careful, though.
Are we doing serial killer? That's what's going to sell the sandwiches? Because why? Because it's spicy?
It's spicy.
What a stone cold weirdo that guy is.
Unlimited.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
What up, what up? Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Today's busy. It's Wednesday. That's usually the quiet day. It is anything but. So glad to have you on CBS Sports Radio all across the country. And, of course, we are streaming live on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on in. Get comfy in the chat. Come meet our diehard listeners who are stone cold weirdos, and we absolutely love you. Okay, got to start today with Patrick Mahomes.
More like stoned cold losers.
Stoned and weirdos.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, not sure if they're warm or cold. We got to start with Patrick Mahomes because he gave an update today on his ankle. Do we have it? Let's hear it.
I'm doing good, AFC Championship week, ready to go.
How's the ankle?
It's doing good, I've done a few days of treatment, a few days of rehab. Excited to get on the practice field and kind of test it out and see where I'm at, but it's feeling good so far.
Okay, that's exactly what I would say if my ankle was attached or detached from my body and I was playing in the AFC Championship game.
If you had a 260-pound man chasing after you. I'm getting treated for my ankle.
Yes, please compare yourself to Mahomes.
Well, I get this because I've had some big pickup games where I have to you do two things. You break up the scar tissue with a little hammer, like an electrical stimulant, and then you rehab and try and strengthen it. I think he can make some progress. And I'm basing this on personal experience. If you do a week of hard rehab, it feels better. And then you shoot it up.
Listen, I think he's going to probably look like himself. I mean, maybe not fully, but you're still going to get
himself.
Well, you're still going to get some of the Mahomes magic here. There was even a point in the second half against the Jacksonville Jags where he does the jump throw, and he's off of 1 foot. I mean, I said it yesterday, but Mahomes is better on 1 foot than most quarterbacks on 2. Now the question becomes, if everyone was healthy, all 4 quarterbacks, if Jalen Hurts' shoulder was perfectly healthy, if Mahomes' ankle was perfectly healthy, I think that we would say, no doubt, Mahomes would be the one quarterback you would want to start a big game, right?
No. Well, okay.
If everyone's healthy.
I don't know if no doubt.
Okay, well, maybe you want to make a case for Joe Burrow or for
I think
Hurts.
Joe Burrow will be in the conversation.
Okay.
I think Mahomes would be the answer for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Burrow's earned his right into that conversation.
I agree with you. He's earned the right into the conversation. But now, where things are, would you still give Mahomes, a fighting chance here to be the better quarterback on Sunday, even though he's dealing with the ankle sprain, considering how good Burrow looked against the Bills?
I mean, if you're a better, how you cannot take the Bengals? I still don't understand why you wouldn't take the Bengals, because you at least have to handicap the fact that Patrick Mahomes won't be himself. It'd be a shock. I know you said that maybe you'll see the Mahomes magic. Don't you need to be 100% against a team that is almost equal to you? The Bengals and Chiefs are really close.
Yep.
I think the Bills were pretty close. I think all 3 of the teams were close.
Yeah, the Bills didn't show up, though. I mean, I think the Kansas City's going to show up for this game.
But my point is, if you take 40% away from a major weapon on one of those teams, that immediately puts them in second place in this conversation.
Okay, but how do you know it's 40%? You're talking about your ankle injury for the pickup game, which is nice to compare to the AFC Championship game. Same. But it's still Mahomes. The point I'm trying to make is that if everyone was healthy, Mahomes would be still considered the best of the bunch, even though I know Burrow is amazing, and I know that Jalen Hurts was an MVP candidate this year. Brock Purdy, we're going to put you to the side for a second. No disrespect. But I think that even though, Mahomes, I think, is still on a tier that is above Burrow and Allen and Lamar and,
that's where I disagree. I think they're definitely on the same tier. I think Mahomes is better than Burrow, but if you're going to do tiers, you're saying Mahomes is his own tier where nobody else is?
I think Mahomes is still a cut above everyone else. And then, so even if he's compromised, he's still better than all the rest of the quarterbacks, I think, in the NFL. He's going to be the MVP this year, most likely. Yeah. And I think that even a compromised Mahomes, like, listen, this is no disrespect to Burrow, but I'm thinking a Mahomes, even on a banged up ankle that can have a week to rehab and can get shot up with whatever he's going to put in there, is still dangerous. And I think maybe the most dangerous. I don't know.
Stop maybe. Say it. You think Patrick Mahomes on one leg is better than Joe Burrow?
I don't think he's better than...
you kind of just said that.
I think he's still... I think people are pouring in on the Bengals and just like not so fast. I think Mahomes is going to maybe be a little bit more mobile than everyone thinks. Or maybe he's full of bleep and this is all a smokescreen and he's going to be out there limping around.
Well, I think it depends what kind of Patrick Mahomes you want. At the beginning of the Jacksonville game, he was holding the ball about 9 seconds every play. He was running around. He was spinning backwards, spinning to the right, spinning to the left. He can't do that anymore. In fact, I don't think he should have been doing it against Jacksonville. He was just getting. Of course, they were going to hit him. He would not get rid of the ball. I'm curious if he's on schedule in Andy Reid's offense. That could be effective, too. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes holding on to the ball always helps the Chiefs.
It might not, but you know what happens is you try to cover Kelsey, and you try to cover him, and Mahomes moves around back there, and eventually Kelsey breaks free.
I know, but sometimes Mahomes does not take the 6-yard pass.
That's true, too.
And he should. When he does take that, the offense moves, get into some bend, don't break territories.
Can I just say this? It does seem, because of how well Burrow played against the Bills, and because Mahomes is obviously compromised, I just can't tell if this is it that easy that you just take the Bengals now because of Mahomes' ankle?
I think so.
Really?
I immediately thought that.
I'm having trouble thinking it's just going to be that easy. Like, Mahomes is not going to go down here without a really big fight.
I think the Bengals and the Chiefs are very evenly matched. To the point, I would say dead even. So what's the deciding factor here? You have a factor that you can pick on. To me, it's got to be Mahomes' leg makes a difference. And even if he does rehab and, like me, goes out there and balls out.
Toughs it out.
Yeah. And also, the other thing is Burrow's kicked the Chiefs' butt.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It's really hard.
Okay, but he's beat them 3 times now. Like, I know they're not division rivals, they're conference rivals, but I know your mind, you would say, Chiefs are due now. Like, it's hard to beat a team
I agree with that. I totally agree with that theory. And if Mahomes was healthy, I might go there. I wonder, do you think that like a lot of people, are being fooled by how amazing Cincinnati looked against Buffalo? And let's face it, the Chiefs did not look great against the Jags.
No, they did.
They started off really good.
No, but like the fact is like Mahomes gets hurt in the middle of the game. I think it is different when someone goes down in the middle of the game and how you have to scramble as opposed to a week preparing, like the Bengals with their offensive linemen going down. You lose offensive linemen in the middle of the game, although I guess the Kappa kind of went out a little bit, but you lose someone in the middle of the game, I think you're just scrambling to try to cover up. Then you get a week to kind of prepare with the backups, and it can look a lot different. And again, like the offensive line for the Bengals looked incredible against the Bills. It looked like the starters, all of them. So I find it hard to believe, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but I find it hard to believe that it's just going to be that easy. Now, I think for the Bengals, they have to win this game. They should if Mahomes is that compromised, but I think there's a twist in store for us, which is come out in the first quarter and it's like, maybe, Bengals win the toss, they defer, and all of a sudden Mahomes comes out for the first series and it's like, what is Romo's? Okay, here we go, Jim. It looks like Mahomes looking a lot better than anyone ever thought. This guy's superhuman, blah, blah, blah.
But let me paint another picture. What if T. Higgins catches a 9-yard pass and he gets past Chris Jones? Who on Kansas City is going to tackle anybody? They have not tackled in, about 4 years? They haven't tackled anybody? All of a sudden, that defense is going to not stink? I find that hard to believe. You just triple-team Chris Jones on defense, triple-team Travis Kelce on offense, boom, you're done.
I know, but if that was that easy, why wouldn't other teams
Cincinnati seems to be, Jacksonville would lost their mind. I do not know why they were in that weird zone against Travis Kelce. They just completely forgot how to play football. I think the Bengals are better coached on defense, and I think that they're going to let anyone but Kelce beat them. And then the Chiefs' defense is really flawed. Really, really flawed. Much more so than Cincinnati. I gave Burrow an edge there, too. Listen, I'm not saying the Bengals are going to blow them out. I'm just saying why I picked them. Would I be shocked if Mahomes looked good and the Chiefs won? Of course not.
Like, can Mahomes still deliver the ball? Like, if he's still going to be able to deliver the ball, then he does have guys, maybe not to the level, besides Kelsey, who's incredible, to the level of San Francisco, but there are guys on that offense who can do yards after catch, make plays, make guys miss. Like, as long as he's delivering the ball on time, he's still going to move. Like, they're still going to score points.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he better get rid of the ball. That's all I'm going to say. Because if he takes one more hit, it feels like, and Mahomes is kind of fragile already. Remember, he dislocated his knee in the playoffs.
I know, but he always gets up and plays.
He always gets up and plays, but remember the Tampa Bay Super Bowl? That whole team did not look the same. I mean, injuries affect you. Usually the healthiest team wins the Super Bowl. So, and they're actually fairly healthy other than him.
The other part is, you mentioned about the Chiefs' defense is not very good. You're right about that. But if somehow Jones and Frank Clark are able to get to Burrow, do we finally see backup offensive linemen looking like backups? The Bills could not get home. Couldn't do it. Whether it was the snow or they're not good enough or whatever, Burrow had all day.
Yeah, but Burrow, if he does get pressured, will run. That's what he did against Kansas City last year. Yeah, I'm not so scared about that. Chris Jones and Clark hasn't really had a great season. No, it doesn't scare me. But here's the crux of our argument. I think totally healthy, Mahomes and Burrow are exactly on the same tier. I do not think that Mahomes.
Are you sure you're not being a little reactionary towards the Bills game?
No, I mean, the same tier. I mean, Mike Sando breaks down tiers. You have to have, 5 tiers? So Mahomes is not alone in his own tier where he's so much better.
Who else do you put on the tier?
So I would put...
Do you put Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen on the tier?
I would put Jalen Hurts on tier 2. I put Josh Allen there. I put...
Lamar?
No, Lamar 2 or 3. Where do you put it? Is Aaron Rodgers? Who's Aaron Rodgers? Is he the old Aaron Rodgers?
We're going to get to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to make his quotes will make an appearance on the show.
Tom Brady 2 years ago would have been on that tier. I put those 3 guys up there. And see, the thing about it hurts. We haven't seen him do it. We've seen Burrow do it. We've seen Mahomes do it.
You haven't seen Allen do it, though. I mean, he got to the conference title game.
Yeah, we saw him torch Kansas City 2 years ago in the divisional round. So we've seen more of it. Jalen Hurts has won 1 playoff game.
Against the Giants.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Don't you feel a little nervous about putting him in this conversation because of that?
No, I mean, he was an MVP candidate all year long. I think Jalen Hurts is the real deal. The one thing about is the shoulder, which I think the only thing you saw about him with the shoulder against the Giants was just an unwillingness to run like how he usually does. And I think that was a calculated move by the Eagles. As soon as they got up 2 scores, it was like, okay, you got to protect yourself is now the most important thing in this game. And you saw it.
Well, he still took off 9 times. But I saw this report.
But he wasn't like going into contact to get the extra yard or whatever.
He's been taught to land on the non-injured shoulder. This is not good. That's not a good
speed. How are you going to do that?
He did it. You could see him running real weird against the Giants. Like, it looked odd every time he took off. There were a bunch of design calls too. He is just not the same player right now. Maybe he just shoots it up and goes for it on Sunday. I worry a little bit as an Eagles fan. It's not facing the Giants, as you just said, with a lot of judgment there. It's facing the Niners. It's one thing to avoid hitting the wrong shoulder. What about when Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead are chasing you? It's going to be a lot harder to slide the right way. He's going to need to run like crazy, and that scares me to death.
855-2124-CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so Mahomes and Burrow, want to hear your thoughts. Is Burrow now on the tier with Mahomes? And then going into this game, is it as straightforward as Mahomes' ankle is compromised, that means the Bengals are going to win? Or is there a twist here? Something different coming that we're not seeing, which is maybe Mahomes plays well. Maybe they do shoot it up and he gets the treatment that he needs and he looks like himself. Maybe not. 855-2124-CBS. The chat is already up and running. Jeffrey saying, I wonder how much State Farm would pay Mahomes to wear the magic marker mustache during the game. We were all thinking it. No, none of us were thinking it. Go in and hang out in our chat, and you won't be the same. You go to youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Of course, give us a call, 855-212-4CBS. We're talking about the AFC Championship game coming up. We want to hear your thoughts. Plus, coming up, what did Aaron Rodgers have to say about the possibility of playing for a new team? We've got that for you in just a moment. Let's go. Lot to do on this Wednesday. Glad you're along with us. Again, 855-212-4CBS. Giddy up. It is the Maggie and Perloff Show, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Getting very, very excited. We were only 4 days away from 2 games, 2 conference title games. They're going to tell us so much about the state of the NFL, and I'm so excited. Both matchups have so many storylines. So far, we've been focusing on Patrick Mahomes' health and the Bengals Chiefs. Now, I could see people taking exception to this, but I don't know how. How can anyone say the Chiefs' defense is not a weakness in this matchup? I'd like to hear that.
Well, let's hit the phone, shall we? 855-212-4CBS. Let's waste no time. Matthew's in California wants to talk about the Chiefs' D. What's up, Matt?
Maggie, McLovin, how you doing?
We're doing all right.
Great, buddy.
First off, I want to call and sympathize with you, Maggie. I'm sorry about your Bills. Been a big fan, actually. Josh Allen, Diggs, the guys over there, they're doing a great job, even though I'm a Chiefs fan. So first off, sympathize with you guys.
I know. You're probably wishing you were facing the Bills this weekend, to be honest.
No, I want Cincinnati. The Chiefs want Cincinnati, I think. I think the team wants to face them. They want to go one-on-one and get rid of that demon. So on to the defense, though. I think there's a lot of points you guys are missing out on. Yeah, Chris Jones, Defensive Player of the Year, up for the nomination. Great player to triple team him. Frank Clark is finally healthy. L'Jarius Sneed's going to be a factor back there. Justin Reed's been great all season. And Nick Bolton is getting no love for being the player he is. That kid's going to be the future of the linebackers for the NFL as a face of linebackers. There's some big
Perloff rebuttal.
Joe Burrow did whatever he wanted to every level of that defense. Just completely toyed with him the entire game.
Well, but that's also...
Who won, though?
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? The Bengals won. I mean, I'm talking about this, the regular season game.
Well, did whatever he wanted. They won 27-24.
Yeah, but he controlled the ball. I mean, he had a field day in that game. I know the score wasn't that much.
He was 25 for 31, 286, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, he had a good game.
Yeah, of course he had a good game. He's just going against the Chiefs. And even some bad offenses had some success against the Chiefs. Do you think that they took a significant step up from last year where we saw it, the Bills in the second half against the Bengals, where especially their back 7, if you want to go back 7, back 4, really was kind of weak. Do you think they're better this year?
The Chiefs, I think they're much better this year. I think Justin Reed's been an improvement back there. I think Nick Bolton's like a year older. I think L'Jarius Sneed, look at the numbers, has proven to be one of the best corners in the league this year. Look at purely at the numbers. And again, this is the conference championship 5th year in a row. Mahomes has something to prove. Reed has something to prove. This defense is hearing everybody talk. It's bullet material for them. They're going to come out swinging. It's going to be a whole different game people think it is, I think.
I hope so. I hope you're right, because I'd love to see that.
Matthew, thanks so much for the call. Defending your Chiefs, I get it. Appreciate the condolences on the Bills. We've moved on from that. But I think there's something in store here. And the other part, too, about the Chiefs' defense, you're right. Like, they have not been amazing, especially if you compare them to the Chiefs' own offense. But Steve Spagnuolo is the Chiefs' defensive coordinator. And every once in a while, that guy gets something up his sleeve and figure something out. Listen.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. They won the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Yeah, and even that game wasn't a Steve Spagnuolo win. I mean, think of some other big games. Think of the Bucs game what Tom Brady did to his offense. Think of what Joe Burrow did last year. Think of what Josh Allen did to him last year. And I don't think I'm a Spagnuolo fan because he was in Philly for so long. But, I mean, come on. There's something. I think Matthew made a great point. They're definitely better than last year. When they had, was it Honey Badger was there last year? He could not catch up to anybody.
Was he still there last year?
Yeah, they were so slow in the back four, and I'm not quite the Nick Bolton fan he is. They're just not. They're just not like a San Francisco or a Philly or even the way Cincinnati's been playing defensively. They're just not there. Now, they do have Mahomes, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but again, it's Mahomes who says today that, he's feeling good, but obviously he's going to be a bit limited. Something tells me this game's not going to be as straightforward as it seems, which is, of course, Cincinnati should go in there and they should win. I'm not going to say easily, but they should win. I mean,
by 2.
I don't know if it's by 2. I think they might win by a touchdown.
Well, I mean, the spread is almost always completely accurate, so it's 2. Chris Jones could blow up the game too. That's always possible. But Burrow has had this habit of running away from trouble. Can he keep doing it? I don't know how he does it. And besides, Maggie, you can't pick the Chiefs. You know,
why not?
Rule number 4 of the Maggie and Perloff show.
It's the handbook.
Do not bet against Joe Burrow.
I know.
We always forget.
Darn it.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. I mean, we're going to do our picks on Friday.
Yeah.
I can see which way we're both leaning here.
I know. Well, I just thought got some early Super Bowl odds. You want to hear them?
Yeah.
Just for fun. Just for funsies. Comes to us from our friends over at betonline.ag. I just had it and I just lost it. Okay. If the Philadelphia Eagles beat the San Francisco 49ers, they will be favored by 1.5 over either AFC team. However, if the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl, it's a pick'em against Cincinnati or Kansas City. So obviously expecting a good game either way, but are you surprised that it would have been Philadelphia favored by 1.5 no matter who they're playing in the AFC?
No. But I think if the Bengals if they blow out the Chiefs, the Bengals will definitely be favored over the Eagles.
Maybe you get a thing where the money comes in flip-flops, but like we're talking about tiers of quarterback, and we're saying, and you're saying Mahomes and Burrow, same tier. I think Mahomes is still slightly above, but semantics. They would both be underdogs to the Eagles, who have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts, who was an MVP candidate all year, but is playing with a shoulder that's compromised.
Right. The Eagles obviously have a great defense. I think behind.
So do the 49ers.
Yeah, no, the 49ers are the number 1 defense. They have Brock Purdy, so that's why they would be.
Right. So if they win,
I think
I'm saying, I should have said, so do the Bengals.
No. The Eagles are way different class than the Bengals defense. The Eagles are number 2 in the league in defense.
I know, but don't you have to account for the fact that the Bengals and their defensive adjustments, like they're just not the same sometimes from the first half to the second half, where they're making adjustments that can shut down some of the best offenses, including going back to last year's AFC Championship.
Yeah, but the Eagles are sack machines with these incredible cornerbacks. The Bengals, I don't see that. Yeah, Lou Anarumo, it's a genius at halftime. I don't know what he does.
Yeah.
But the Eagles on paper are just smoking on defense right now.
Talking about cornerbacks and talking about the hat that Perloff decided to wear to the show today. If you want to watch us, we're on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Go there, subscribe. Brotherly love.
Yes.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Not so brotherly. He had his car stolen after the game. I mean, come on, Philly. Be better.
Oh, now, where was his car? I saw this story.
In the city of Philadelphia. Brotherly love allegedly.
It wasn't in the player lot, though, was it?
I think it got stolen. I thought it got stolen from outside of his house.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't get it. We are Philadelphia thieves do not judge people based on what they do. They just steal democratically.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they are equal opportunity thieves. I respect that about Philadelphia.
It doesn't matter if you're a key piece in a potential Super Bowl run. We will steal your car. Do we know what kind of car it was? Some more details on that.
Yeah, we need to. So it was outside his house, we're claiming?
Well, I don't know. If it got stolen from the player lot, then it was an inside job because that has security around it.
Okay, here's the quote. I know exactly who stole my bleep, bro. Don't worry, we got y'all on camera. Wow, that's how y'all going to go down in Philly after a win. So he has a picture of this person.
I think he got caught on like a ring or something, like a home security, Simply Safe, whatever.
That's kind of awesome. Now, I wonder if the person...
It's not awesome, dude. It's not awesome.
That's kind of awesome that he caught him.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the car back.
Well, if he's got him on camera, he's going to get paid next year. He's fine. There's insurance for these kind of things.
Yeah. Car stolen, especially after a win. How dare you, Philly?
I've gotten locked into that lot where the players are in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because I think there's one lot where a lot of media and a lot of players are, and the players all leave right afterwards.
Yeah.
But the media, you've been there for 3 hours.
Yeah, you got to file your stories.
And they locked me in. So I had to run around the link for about an hour and a half to find a security guard to open the gate. And I was panicked that I was going to have to leave the car there. Did that ever happen to you?
No, but I remember once a long time ago, you and I were both leaving MetLife, and we could not find the exit.
Oh, yeah. No, that's happened a million times to me. The MetLife exit's impossible. You always have to scale the fence.
We're driving around. After the game, this is weird. This is just, bear with me. I don't know why this is, but in the parking lot after any Giants or Jets game, it's just seagulls.
Yeah.
Just birds. Where do they come from? Where do they go?
They're eating the leftover
they're eating leftover tailgates. But, like, it's not, you don't really think of that place of being like a seagull kind of place.
Well, I mean, it's a swamp.
It's
right?
a swamp, but
Meadowlands, I don't know.
I never see them any other time.
You certainly don't see an ocean around there.
No. Like, you never see them any other time except in the parking lot after tailgate. And so Perloff and I are driving around trying to find the exit. And every time, driving towards the birds, and then they fly up in the air.
I would say
it was a disaster.
That parking lot, under the best of circumstances, the most beautiful day, is a 9 out of 10 depressing. That entire area of New Jersey is pathetic.
You think Tony Soprano dumped some bodies over there? That's
At
why.
night after a tailgate, that is the grossest place on planet
It's just
Earth.
as gross as any other place.
No.
It's depressing as heck.
Yeah,
it's depressing.
It is much grosser than 99% of the places in this country.
No, come on. I mean,
it is gross.
Okay, they call it the armpit of America for a reason. I get that. However, any tailgate in America, the parking lot's going to be gross. When you think about college football tailgates, the parking lot's disgusting.
Yes, but you also don't have the smell of dry sewage and factories and all the other nonsense that you just can whiff in the air.
Yeah, people are like, why do people wear masks there? Because of COVID? It's like, no.
Nope.
Just because the other things
plus
that are in the air.
The smell of Jimmy Hoffa's rotting body somewhere wafting up over you.
Have to compete with many other.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the Giants and Jets being in New Jersey. I honestly thought that one time they were going to put the Jets in the city.
Yeah. You know who put the kibosh on that?
The Giants?
James Dolan.
Dolan.
Yeah.
Either way, I just don't. I think that's one of the reasons those teams sometimes lack a little something. They're stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
I said, you know who put the kibosh on that? And Ackerman just pointed to me.
Well, it was a reference, obviously.
Yes, he and I are not friends.
When I do think of James Dolan, Maggie Gray is right at the top of the mind.
By the way, have you guys noticed, though, and not to just go to basketball for 1 second, we'll go back to football. Have you noticed now the New York Times, all of these politicians in New York going after Dolan, all of the law firms where he's keeping people out of the Garden because they're part of law firms that are, in lawsuits with the Garden? It's like it's picking up some steam here, guys.
You're a trailblazer.
Exactly.
I mean, I call it like I see it.
A seat blazer.
I've most definitely not noticed, because the second the Knicks are mentioned or come on my TV, it's immediately blank. Return the station. There is no less relevant team on earth than the Knicks right now. I'm sorry.
The Charlotte Hornets are pretty.
Don't get me. Oh, Julius Randle's having a good season. They're going to be the 7th seed.
No,
oh my God.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say the most irrelevant team.
Stretch.
Houston Rockets are not relevant right
Houston Rockets are at least interesting because they're tanking. The Knicks are going to be
for the French windmill.
They're going to be the 7th seed for the rest of eternity.
They'll be lucky if they're the 7th seed.
Dolan's and this is me saying it, not you. Dolan's got a Daniel Snyder feel too. It's like, oh God, this guy's still the owner.
You think?
yeah. It's like, I mean, it's hard to get your cackles up about Dolan because it's been going on forever.
It has been going on forever, but he's starting to tick off some people here that might actually have the guts to take him on. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, sure.
2 people I wouldn't want to mess with. Well, Dolan, but lawyers and politicians.
Do you realize Daniel Snyder still owns a Washington football franchise?
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
Did you see the report that maybe Jeff Bezos will sell the Washington Post just to get into good graces with Snyder? So he'll sell him the team. When
did people start calling for him to get kicked out? 2012? I mean, it takes a long time. I do not see these owners are dug in.
Nope, they are. They're entrenched. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. What were we talking about? Oh, we'll get to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, man, this was probably one of his best appearances on McAfee. It was an hour. I listened to the whole thing after the show yesterday because it was on while we were on.
How do you define best?
I think he might have been stoned. I think he might have been.
Like most interesting, maybe, but like best, like I wanted to jump through the computer screen and punch him in the face multiple times.
Oh, no. Really?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers is he's so punchable.
I would love for you to say that to his face.
He's going to be a Jet, so I'm going to have the opportunity. I'm going to be wearing a Rodgers Jets jersey at some point, but I will be punching myself in the face when I wear it.
Wow, it's a lot of violence going on. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Get you that Rodgers sound in a moment. Do we have a poll, maybe a poll about Mahomes and Burrow? We'll workshop that. You can go to our Twitter handle at Maggie and Pearl, Instagram Maggie and Perloff, TikTok Maggie and Perloff, and of course YouTube is youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on, say hi in the chat. We got a CBS Sports update for you. Here's Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Flash.
Sorry, I was impolite to point. There are 5 finalists for the NFL's most valuable player, and as one might expect, almost all are quarterbacks. The Bills' Josh Allen, the Eagles' Jalen Hurts, the Bengals' Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs are all up for the honor, along with Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson, the only one of the group that isn't a QB. Now, as far as Mahomes is concerned, he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, but said he's good to go for Sunday's AFC Championship and practicing today. One of the more surprising and pleasant stories in the NBA this year has been the turnaround of the Sacramento Kings, who will host the Raptors tonight, looking for their 8th win in 9 games. They have a pair of all-star candidates in De'Aaron Fox and Domas Sabonis, and a promising rookie in Keegan Murray, the 4th pick overall, at 20 points and 9 rebounds in Monday's win, and credits their success to head coach Mike Brown.
He's never going to be satisfied. We could be up 30, 40, or down 30, 40. He still expects the same thing. So he's a coach that's always going to give you tough love, and he supports us all at the end of the day. So he's a really good coach to have, and he's been through it. He's been through everything that you can be through in the NBA.
The West leading Nuggets go for back-to-back wins tonight in Milwaukee. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Thursday in the Jungle, a conversation with Packers wideout Romeo Dobbs and a What's Your Beef segment. See you Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Pros, where you guys can ask us a question. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply check out the link, cbssportsradio.com/askthepros, or tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. All right, we decided on the poll question, Samter. What is it?
Simply, if Burrow beats Mahomes in a second straight AFC title game, will you consider him the best QB in the NFL?
Go to @Maggie and Pearl. You can vote there. You can throw it up in the chat if you want. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Let's go to Stan, who's in Kansas, big-time Chiefs fan. What's up, Stan?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
First-time caller. I've been in and out of the pickup. I'm a Chiefs fan. Hope the Chiefs win. But, if the Chiefs can't dig themselves in a hole like they have some of the other games, and then come back with Mahomes' injury, maybe not. I coach basketball and had a girl who sprained her ankle, and I know their trainers are a lot smarter than I am and a lot better, so
well, did she play the next day? Did she play in the next game or not?
Heck no. No, she's out for about another week or so.
Oh, no.
Cautionary tale.
Yeah. So, she thinks some other girl fell on her foot.
Well, you got to give her a Toradol shot and get her out there. What kind of team are you running there? Come on, Stan.
Yeah, darn right. Small school. We have about, I think we have 12 on our team. We probably have like 50 in our whole school. So, I think I can do that.
Yeah. It sounds like you're cultivating a loser attitude here.
Stan, rub some dirt in it. Jeez. A week off. What kind of cupcake organization are you running over there?
Hey, we have her in an ice bucket, so.
Well, tell her she can't get out.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing. Hey, what's it going to take to get Tasker in the Hall of Fame? I went to college with Tasker at Dodge City Community College, so that was back in the days. So I used to referee football with his roommates. So let's get him in the Hall of Fame.
Wait, Stan, did you send us an email?
I sent you an email.
I wrote back to you.
Remember what I said? I said
about Steve Tasker.
On these things. Well, yeah, and I also said I'm an idiot when I call things like this because I get tongue-tied, and if I don't watch my speed, I'm going to get a dang ticket because I'm on the interstate.
Well, Stan, you're not tongue-tied at all. Of course I would get back to you. Sometimes it takes me a couple days. We have Maggie and Perloff at gmail.com. I'm glad you called in, and you sounded great. You gave us the great thing about your star player being sidelined. I mean, she should get back out there, but
Okay. I've never heard you. Steve Tasker's not a Hall of Famer. Matthew Slater's not a Hall of Famer. Maybe Devin Hester is, but Steve Tasker's not a Hall of Famer.
Listen, if Scott Rowland's a Hall of Famer, Steve Tasker. No. Different Hall of Fames. Different Hall of Fames. I do think that there should be a place for the best at, if you're one of the best at special teams, then why shouldn't you get in? Adam Vinatieri's going to get in. The kickers get in.
Well, you're not.
Justin Tucker's going to get in.
Well, Justin Tucker is exceptional.
No, I get it, but I'm saying they're part of special teams.
Well, I just think the other players are so much more valuable judging on the market. I mean, if they're so important to the game, then why don't they get paid more?
Well, I mean, because
they're not that important to the game.
I know, but Adam Vinatieri's never going to make as much as Tom Brady. But I mean, you could argue that he's responsible for at least one of their Super Bowls.
I think that would be a
not
tough,
responsible, but
not
you know
as responsible as Tom Brady.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, he made the huge kick against the Raiders, and obviously huge kick in the Super Bowl.
Adam Vinatieri he'll be the fourth kicker to get in.
But he was never going to have a salary that was anywhere close to any of those other guys.
Right,
so I don't know if you can just say salary is the thing.
I just think it's not an accident that there's 100 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame and 4 kickers.
I get it. I understand. Yeah. But like a Devin Hester or someone like that.
I said Hester is the only one I put in.
Oh, okay.
I would not put Tasker, and then Slater is similar to. Well, I guess Tasker did a little more than Slater, but I don't know. So you'd put Tasker in?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little close.
I respect that. I'm
a little close. Let's go to Calvin. He's in Utah. Wants to talk about Derek Carr, someone we haven't spoken about in the last couple days. What's up, Calvin?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I appreciate your show. I love the honesty.
Thank you.
So listen,
we can't help it.
That's good. The only way to be of sports. And that's why I wanted to bring up Derek Carr, because I've been a lifer Raider fan and having to deal with this Derek Carr saga. And so what I want you guys to talk about is you've got the left hand saying he's a good guy and the Raiders did him wrong. But on the right side, it's a business and we need wins. And so I don't feel like the Raiders are doing him wrong. Since he broke his ankle in 2016, which was unfortunate, he's just played scared. And I think it was ballsy for them to finally make a move, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we do next. We never know, right? But I just want to hear what you guys
Calvin,
feel about that.
I'm glad you brought it up, and something to keep an ear on. Tim Brown's going to join us at the top of the hour. Stu just fist bumped. Raiders legend, Hall of Famer. We're going to get his thoughts on whether or not they did Derek Carr right or wrong and who he thinks could be the next quarterback, because I think if I'm a Raider fan, I won't speak for you, Stu, but I'm excited about what's next. You built a pretty good team. You got deficiencies, the defense, the offensive line, but you got a pretty good team that's pretty attractive to a quarterback on the market, like maybe a Tom Brady.
Okay, but what if this scenario plays out where Tom Brady does not go there? Aaron Rodgers does not end up there.
Yeah.
Say they go with Stidham and they take Anthony Richardson out of Florida.
Quarterback that's maybe a project.
You could possibly see, because they still have a lot of the wreckage of the Mike Mayock era and John Gruden era, that they could be a 5-6 win team they would probably be, their over-under would probably be 5.5 if they went like
if
that.
If you don't get some of the big guys, I think, yes, then you're probably looking at a little bit. But you know what, Stu, you could talk about it. Even if you went that way, would you be all that upset if you were a Raider fan if you draft the quarterback, hopefully, of the future?
No, I wouldn't. The only thing I would say is that this team has a lot of players that are built to win now.
Yeah.
So by the time that quarterback develops in 2 or 3 years, some of those players are going to be gone or older and not what they are now.
Hey, did you see a report that something about the front office wants more of their guys? And that maybe Waller and Renfro might be already on the trade block. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
That makes no sense. It was this front office that just gave him extensions this last offseason.
Yeah, I did not see that. But by the way, one more thing. Devontae Adams is not young. That is.
No, I know. It's a win-now kind of thing. Okay, so
it feels like you have a run of 4-win seasons there, Stu. I'm just telling you, they're setting up that way.
How about this, though? Maybe you can split the baby. It's kind of hard, but maybe you can split the baby. Do you draft a quarterback who might be a project, but if you don't get Rodgers or Brady, do you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo knows McDaniel. I mean, the only thing is that he can't stay healthy, but maybe you could win 8 games with Garoppolo. You can get yourself in a playoff hunt with Garoppolo, right?
I hope you're right. I don't know. I don't share that same confidence.
Gino?
Yeah.
Oh, Gino.
Could be a comeback player of the year.
If for winning now, I feel like it's Brady, Rodgers, or bust. I don't think there's a third guy that they could bring in.
I mean, a lot of those guys are very similar to Derek Carr, too.
What about bringing back Derek Carr? Do you think the bridge has been totally severed? I mean, it seems like it. He's setting out. Yeah, I mean, we thought that with Garoppolo, and they brought him back.
Yeah, but
Garoppolo did a going-away press conference. The guy made it to a Super Bowl with that.
At least he said nice things about the team. Carr has been quite emotional about this breakup. No, and I think that caller was right. You can't have any excitement about seeing Derek Carr run it back right now. I think there's a lot of flaws with this team. I see them as an older, kind of bloated roster without a real way forward. Unless Aaron Rodgers comes and saves the day.
Or Brady.
Yeah, even Brady. What's Brady going to do there?
Throw the ball to the playmakers? Like, that seems like maybe that's an option.
I don't know. I worry about the offensive line and the defense. It doesn't feel like there's quite enough for Brady. Would they be? Where do you put them in the AFC West next year if you have Tom Brady? Obviously, KC would probably be number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Who's going to be the coach of Denver?
Give you Sean Payton to Denver, which is not going to happen, but
might. It's going to be tough.
It's tough. Yeah, they're right in that mix.
You're going to be in the mix for the play. Well, you were in the mix for the playoffs this year, but it didn't happen.
Made it last year.
Now you put yourself in too big of a hole this year. What'd you start the season, like 1-6, something like that? Vincent is in the Bronx. Wants to talk about the 49ers. Vincent, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, Maggie. Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
About the 49ers, this is a team that has advanced to the NFC Championship game now 2 years in a row. But my question to you is, what's going to happen, when Trey Lance gets healthy? Because obviously Brock Purdy is, standing out for the 49ers now.
Yep.
So now it's going to get interesting.
Vincent, it wouldn't be an offseason without a little 49ers drama. Thank you for the call. It's funny. They have so much drama, but yet it never affects them on the field. That's pretty amazing.
Right. I would think that it's going to be probably Purdy's job with Lance as a backup, but I don't think there's going to be. My prediction would not be a quarterback battle. What do you think?
I think that Purdy starts the season.
Yeah.
And I think that, Lance is probably the backup, and if Purdy's the real deal, like if this is it, and you actually found your quarterback for the next, 5-7 years or whatever for the 49ers, then you're hoping that Lance comes in at some point, puts a little something good on tape, and you're able to trade him. I mean, you're never going to recoup what you traded up to get.
It's similar to the Jordan Love situation. What are you going to really give up for an unproven quarterback who hasn't gotten paid yet?
Yeah.
So Trey Lance will be entering his 3rd year, and Trey Lance is so young. He came in the NFL at 21. He's a good backup, probably.
I feel like with Lance, it could go, and maybe Jordan Love, it goes one of two ways. Either they get to another team and become Pro Bowlers, and it's like, wow, amazing. Sucks to be Green Bay or 49ers. They missed out on that. Or we never hear from them again.
Yeah, very possible.
I don't know if there's a middle ground.
One real factor with the Niners is that every year they go through 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks. That's not a joke. Kyle Shanahan has had multiple quarterbacks, so you have to have depth at that position.
You're so right.
Yeah.
But, to be honest, if I'm the 49ers, I don't know if I feel great about only Lance being my backup situation.
Yeah, you got to get a third body in there. So, but they're going with Josh. Isn't Josh Johnson still their backup?
Yeah, Josh Johnson's as old as me.
Right. So they picked him up midseason. Just have a guy like that there. That's what I'm saying. I think that's fine. They're comfortable with him as 2 now.
I know, but they were forced into it.
Yeah. So what are you saying? Like you can't have a decently paid third quarterback.
Oh.
You really can't.
I don't know. Maybe you can. None of them are making any money.
Yeah.
Purdy makes nothing. Lance makes nothing. They're both on rookie deals. Maybe you could bring in a third guy.
Well, right now, I forgot they have 4 on their roster right now with Jimmy G still getting a paycheck from them and Trey Lance.
That ends at the end of the year.
Jimmy G will probably hoist the Lombardi Trophy. He might be the Super Bowl MVP. Just do not count on Jimmy G.
But this isn't the last we've seen of him?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reports that he might dress, next week? Or no, he might dress, he might dress for the Super Bowl.
That would be in 2 weeks.
He might dress for the Super Bowl. You can never count out James Garoppolo.
Wait, think about it. Didn't Garoppolo won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots, right? So he's a backup to Brady. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Imagine if they go to the Super Bowl and he's the backup and he wins another one. Like, you're a 3-time Super Bowl champion.
So wait, he beat the Rams? Was he at the Atlanta Super Bowl?
I believe he was.
Was he really? Wow.
855-212-4CBS. Raider fans, hold on. Tim Brown's coming up next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
I can see you're laughing at my voice, Maggie.
I kid you not. Mike Samter walked into the studio. He says,
Man, Perloff sounds sexy today.
I don't need that.
Yes.
I don't need that 10 minutes before the show.
The Tone Loc of the Maggie and Perloff show. I agree, Mike. I mean, I didn't want to say it myself. I think I sound sexy.
This is not how to build a sex room. This is how to build a sex machine.
When you signed on with me, you knew you were signing on with a sex symbol, Maggie.
You look great.
Let's not be ridiculous, okay? I look passable at best.
Your shade of pale, still very much on point.
This voice is going to get me some voiceover gigs, Maggie.
Yeah.
You know it's true. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. Let's go.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
So glad to have you on this Wednesday. It is the Maggie and Perloff show. Counting down until AFC and NFC championship games. If you're wondering, Patrick Mahomes not only said he's feeling good, the high ankle sprain, he's feeling good, getting treatment, but Andy Reid saying today, Perloff, that he expects Mahomes to do everything in practice that he would have normally done.
Okay,
I was a little surprised by that.
That's practice. Can Andy Reid guarantee that he's going to be able to spin twice out of tackles and throw a no-look pass 15 yards down the field to Travis Kelce?
When Hendrickson is bearing
leaning
down on you.
Leg,
he did not say that. I don't know if he was asked that specifically, but that's the latest update because that really is, I would say, the biggest storyline heading into the weekend.
Absolutely.
Is the health of Patrick Mahomes and how he's going to look. Listen, admirable for him and gutty to come back against Jacksonville. I don't know if Chad Henne could have beaten Jacksonville. Probably not. I mean, Jacksonville at the end, they're driving before the Agnew fumble. I mean, I thought that this was going to be I thought that was going to be maybe a turning point for them in the game. They needed Mahomes to come back. He did. He played through injury. They won, and here they are.
But how can you say that? Chad Henne had nothing but success.
I know, but I have to imagine that.
I don't know that.
Finally, the defense would have figured something out if they got a second bite at the apple at Henne.
Yeah, but Mahomes didn't really do that much after he came back.
Except get the ball to Kelce consistently.
Yeah, I think Henne could have done that too. I don't know. I think that's a long stretch. I never really thought. I know that Jacksonville did come back at the end. I felt like the Chiefs, if they needed to turn on the gas, could have done it.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing, right? What are we going to see coming up on Sunday? If you need to, turn on the gas, so to speak, as you're saying, is Mahomes going to be able to do it, or is the injury, going to really hamper him?
But here's the thing about that situation with the Chiefs. Nobody can play with a lead anymore in the NFL. I don't care if it's Chad Henne or Patrick Mahomes. Everybody just lets everyone come back. I'm not sure why, but I think it was a little bit of a situation. The Chiefs lost some urgency and kind of sat back against the Jags, I thought.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if I saw it that way. I think everyone was kind of off kilter because of the Mahomes injury. Okay, he's here? Yes? Oh, fantastic. Okay, we know we have a ton of Raider fans in the audience, and this is one of our favorites to talk to. Of course, it's the great Tim Brown, the Hall of Fame wide receiver. And Tim, it's Maggie and Perloff here in New York. Thank you so much for joining us on behalf of the Invited Celebrity Classic, which we'll talk about in just a moment. How you been, Tim?
I've been good. How are you guys?
We're doing excellent. Perloff, one of the last times that I got the honor and privilege of interviewing Tim Brown, we went through, Tim, every quarterback who had ever thrown you a touchdown in the NFL. And I think it was like 28 guys or something. And you got them all. To your credit, you remembered every one of them.
Wait, I actually have a better Tim Brown story that Tim will not remember.
Okay.
Tim, I used to work on the Dan Patrick Show, and I believe you came into our New York office, and I played you in ping pong.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, that's a very good possibility because I love ping pong. No doubt about it.
You were amazing. Are you really good at ping pong? I think you are.
Just tell me I beat you. Just tell me that.
Yeah, you are. You easily. I think you were using your offhand and you beat me.
Oh man, Tim, thanks again for carving out some time for us. First off, high ankle sprains. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes as kind of the big story going into the weekend. Have you ever had to play on a high ankle sprain? What does it feel like?
Yeah, I did. I think before they were calling it a high ankle sprain, I had a high ankle sprain, So it was the early 90s. And, we found a little remedy, though. And I don't know, I haven't heard of anybody else ever trying this, but it was the Raiders training staff, right? So anything goes, right, with those guys back in the day. But what they did was they found a spot on my high ankle where it was hurting, and they put a piece of felt right there, and they taped it as tight as I could take it without cutting off my circulation. And then they just taped my ankle normally, and that kept enough of the pressure off of the pain away that I was able to go out and play. Now, I limped. I scored on a 65-yard touchdown. It was versus the Giants, and after that play, I was done because it was hurting too bad, but I was able to play. So, I think that was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So I'm sure they've come up with something on how to deal with this. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays with this injury.
Is there any case where you think Patrick Mahomes is going to be, he tends to improvise a lot. Maybe he'll be on schedule and do exactly what Andy Reid says, and maybe there'll be a different kind of Chiefs offense where he gets rid of the ball quicker and that'll be effective? Or do they need him to move around a lot?
Yeah, well, I just think in his head, he believes he has to move around, right? He has to be able to. Now, you saw the last part of that game where he really couldn't, and he did what he had to do. But I think starting the game out, if he doesn't show that he can move, then if I'm Cincinnati, I'm sending 7 people at him every time, right? I'm just going to blitz him to death and make him be really, really uncomfortable, So I think he has to show that he has the ability to move, even if it's just a quarter, a rollout pass or something of that nature. I think he has to show that he's not trying to be a pocket quarterback.
Tim Brown is our guest, the Hall of Famer. He's on behalf of the Invited Celebrity Classic. It's the second annual. It's going on April 21st to the 23rd at Las Colinas Country Club in Irving, Texas. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You've got PGA pros, you've got celebrities and sports stars. It's going to be fantastic. It's got a charitable side to it as well. We'll get to that more in just a moment. Tim, we've got so many Raider fans who are in our audience. We are in Las Vegas, we're proud to say. So we've been asking this question about the next Raiders quarterback, if it's not Jarrett Stidham. Tom Brady, perhaps Aaron Rodgers, if a trade is on the table there. Who do you see as the next Raiders QB?
Oh, boy, I tell you what, I really don't know. I haven't seen enough of Stidham to be able to say that he's a guy and, let him have a job. But I do believe that McDaniels believes in this kid, right? Because he wouldn't have brought him from New England with him, and certainly he wouldn't have done what he did at the end of the season, upsetting probably every Raider fan. People may not have liked Derek Carr. Some people may have been down on him this year, but I think, everybody felt as if he should have been allowed to finish out the year as a Raiders quarterback. So to do what they did, I think is a big, big move on their part. So I hope they have a plan in place, but I can't tell you at this particular point what it's going to be because Stidham looked great at times, and then, he throws an interception. I know he got hit, but at the end of the game to really lose the game for him. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I don't think Tom Brady should be in the plans at all. But, because of their relationship, I think that's a possibility also.
Yeah, why not, Tim?
Well, I think Tom is starting to show that he's 45, 46 years old. You know what I mean? I think his inability to move. I mean, when you look at the quarterbacks, in the league today, you have very, very few who are pocket quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow is probably the closest thing you get. But God knows when it's time to run, he can get out the pocket and make it happen. Tom Brady is never going to do that. And I just don't believe in this league. Tom just won all these Super Bowls, this and that. But I just think the league is going to the point where you have to have a quarterback that's able to move around and get some things done with his feet every once in a while.
You think Brady is going to play at all next year?
Well, I tell you what, man, when you blow it up the way he's blown it up, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't go and retire now because, the family situation isn't what he was thinking it was going to be. So maybe this is his family now. Maybe he tries to hold on and do that thing. But, at some point I would hope that, I was saying this about, something not nearby as big as this, but with some family members, at some point you got to have somebody in your life that when they tell you it's time, it's time. You know what I mean? And I just hope Tom has that person that can really speak to him. And, they may not think it's time, but when they say, hey, Tom, you need to think about it, bro, then I hope Tom is not just, shoving him off and doing his own thing. I hope he really has somebody that he can dig down with and talk about this stuff with.
Well, Tim, you played till you were 38. For a wide receiver, that's kind of Tom Brady years, too. Did you have someone?
Played well, yeah.
Yeah, did you? What made you decide finally to hang him up?
Well, it was. I can tell you, going into the last game of the year, Emmett and I played against each other. I'm at Tampa and he's at Arizona, and on the field, he asked me before the game, Timmy, what are you going to do? And I told him, I said, Emmett, somebody told me just because you can don't mean you should. And he walked away from me going, just because you can don't mean you should. He was repeating it. So he ended up retiring that year too. I think for me, the move from Oakland, the way it happened, was so disturbing because that's not how I had planned for it to go out. That, going to Tampa was really a soft spot for me because I knew Gruden, I knew Bruce Allen, I knew players there. I knew half of the guys are very well on the Tampa team already. So it was a great place for me to go. I don't think I could have gone back to Tampa. So, I got 3 or 4 calls, but I had twins who were 8 months old at the time. It was time. It was time for me to move on.
Well, Emmitt Smith also going to be at the Invited Celebrity Classic, the 2nd annual. Tim Brown will be playing along with John Smoltz. Got to keep your eye out for him. We heard Smoltz is a really good golfer. DeMarcus Ware, Greg Maddux, Pudge Rodriguez, Adam Thielen, so many celebrities. And, of course, proceeds for the event will benefit the Momentous Institute. It's an important North Texas nonprofit dedicated to helping children in need. Again, April 21st to the 23rd at Las Colinas Country Club. Tim, what about Derek Carr and his future? You mentioned, it's a little messy how it ended at the end of the season. What do you think is an ideal landing spot for him? Where should he go?
Well, I tell you what, it's pretty interesting right now. I know he has a lot of opportunities because, there are a lot of teams with quarterbacks, but I think Derek could be an upgrade to their situation. So, if Tom leaves, I think Tampa is a great spot. I don't think he would go to New York because after being in a dome for the last couple of years, I think that would be a tough situation for him to be in. I'm hearing the Texans may be a place where he's looking, and I can see him doing that because of the no taxes in Texas and all that. But in the end, they got a good young team there that he can probably help build around. I think there are several options for him, and I wished him well afterwards. After he put the long speech out, I DM'd him, and, we talked for a little bit. So, I wish him well, man. He gave the Raiders all he could possibly give him. And, a guy like that, you hope he can move on and do something great.
Tim, one last Raiders question from me. So they sit at number 7 in the draft. Is this the time to think about quarterback? You have a lot of older players like Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, Darren Waller. So it doesn't feel like a rebuild. But you're there at number 7. Are they going to be tempted by bringing in a rookie quarterback?
Oh, yeah. Well, they have to be, I think. I guess it's going to really depend on what happens in this free agent season and if they have their eye on somebody and, if they can, get somebody to come take a look at what they're trying to accomplish. So, if that doesn't happen, I think they almost have to bring in a quarterback, out of the draft. Maybe he's not a first rounder, but maybe you got somebody you think is a dark horse, dark horse out there. So I think from that standpoint, man, boy, I tell you what, McDaniels has not made this thing easy for himself, that's for sure. I think some of these moves he's making, they're very bold moves, but if they don't work, man, I tell you what, people are going to be calling for his head. So I wish him well, obviously, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out for him.
Tim, I feel like there might be an obvious answer here, which is maybe Devontae Adams goes to McDaniels in the front office and says, hey, trade for Aaron Rodgers, right? Adams, I'm sure, we know he and Derek Carr love, playing with each other going back to college. Now Carr's not going to be part of the equation. I doubt Devontae Adams wants to play with a rookie, right?
Yeah, I can't see that happening at this point. You know, I'm for sure that Devontae is not too happy with this situation, and that's just me believing that. So I probably shouldn't say that I'm for sure about it, but I'm just saying it this way: if I was in this position, I would not be happy about what's happening right now. So that being said, you know, it may never make the front pages. But I just got to figure that he's talking to them going, hey, you know, you guys got to do something here. I didn't come here to play the next 5, 6, 7 years, you know, with some young kids, you know. So, like I said, I mean, McDaniels has put himself in some tough positions that he's going to have to make some big-time calls here, you know, in the next few months. And if they're not the right calls, boy, I tell you what, it's going to be an ugly season for the Raiders next year, I believe.
The Hall of Famer Tim Brown, right now, the second annual Invited Celebrity Classic. It's a nationally televised PGA Tour Champions competition, 78 PGA Tour champions, 40 sports and entertainment stars, including, obviously, the Hall of Famer Tim Brown. April 21st to the 23rd at Las Colinas Country Club in Irving, Texas. The tickets, Perloff, absolutely free. You go to www.invitedcelebrityclassic.com. It'll also be live on Golf Channel. You're not going to be nervous about this, will you, Tim? It's live. This is not, you know, this is not you catching touchdown passes, you teeing off.
Well, years ago, there was another tournament that we played with the senior pros, and, you know, I played with Chichi Rodriguez and all those guys back in the day. So, you know, now I feel like an old man. I feel like I'm just as old as these guys. So, you know, I don't know if I have it in those kind of nerves around anymore. So it's going to be fun to see Ernie Els and Bernard Langer and those Retief Goosen, see those guys out there. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, you know, loving golf the way I have over the years, you know, I've basically grown up with those guys, you know, playing golf. So this should be a lot of fun, no doubt about it.
Enjoy it. Have fun. And we hope to talk to you again soon. Of course, the Raiders are going to be a major story all off season. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate that.
Wow, who knew? Hall of Famer Tim Brown, big Retief Goosen fan.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
They grew up together.
They grew up watching
Felt
Retief
like
Goosen.
it,
Yeah, I remember there was a day Ernie Els was a big deal.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, actually.
The funny thing is, you know, pro athletes, as amazing as they are, they worship the pro golfers.
Of course.
Worship.
Because it's always like, if this fell through, you know, could I go to the tour? Steph Curry, the guys now, Romo, they all love it.
Steph Curry probably has more respect for Jordan Spieth than he does Michael Jordan. They talk about golfers. They talk about golfers.
True.
You know, but you know golfers. The way avid golfers look up to those guys like they're superhuman.
Wait a minute. The Pro Bowl, I think, is doing like a longest off the tee.
That's a hockey.
The football Pro Bowl.
So wait, I saw today the hockey was incorporating golf. Is football too?
Yeah, because Kyle Brandt was doing an interview with Josh Allen, and apparently the Mannings are doing like a longest off the tee at the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
and
yes.
Allen was like, I'd win it. No hesitation. He said the floor for him is 330 off the tee.
Well, we saw him in the match.
Yeah, against Brady and Rodgers.
Yeah. I don't think Case Keenum's going to be at the thing, but he's one of the greatest. He's one of the best golfers in the NFL. He came in fourth in the, what's the one? American Century Classic last year. I have to get him in on this. Hockey is also incorporating golf into their All-Star game.
I'll tell you one thing that will kill your golf game. Playing in Buffalo. You are not sneaking out for 18 at any point.
I mean, the Pro Bowl games do look pretty fun. There's dodgeball, there's a lightning round, there's a longest drive, there's a precision passing on Madden.
Wait, what's the lightning round?
Lightning round is each conference will select 16 players. Let's see, teammates pairings will toss water balloons back and forth from increasing distances. Then the second round will be catching punts from a jugs machine. And the third round will be, will aim at targets attached to a bucket hanging above the head of an opposing conference's coach. This all sounds incredible.
Is this like camp?
It's like Double Dare.
Who thought this up? Like, did you get some camp director?
Listen, they're doing the Nickelodeon broadcast. I'm sure there's going to be some slime. Steve Summers is going to show up. It's going to be fantastic.
The NHL's topping this. I didn't make this up.
Yeah.
They are having something called Pitch and Puck, where all the All-Stars are going to compete on a par 4 golf hole featuring island green with hockey sticks and golf balls. I believe.
It's Happy Gilmore.
I think it's Happy Gilmore.
How did it take them this long to come up with that?
Oh, and they're going to have a puck and a ball. So all the pros, I tell you, pro athletes, golf. It's an obsession.
I know. I'm like, am I going to watch this stuff?
I think we have to watch it now.
I think maybe we have to watch it.
I'm more likely to watch the lightning round and, the longest drive competition than I am the Pro Bowl.
Dude, I once went to the Pro Bowl.
See, I feel like if it was in Hawaii, it would be
Please
cool.
tell me
it was in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah. Or like Orlando or whatever it was.
It was the last time the Super Bowl was in Phoenix. They had
went to the Pro Bowl?
They had the Pro Bowl like the Sunday before the Super Bowl. That was when they did it in between, and it was in Arizona. So we flew in. We're like, well, we're here to work. Let's go to the Pro Bowl.
What was the atmosphere?
Like worse than a preseason game. Just everyone's super famous. It was like, oh my gosh, it's so and so. It's like, but he's not doing anything. Yeah, it was weird. 855-212-4CBS. Did you see also the NBA All-Star Game? What they're going to do now? They're going to pick sides right before the game.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's like out on the playground, just like boom, 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 boom. Let's go.
They got to dig deep for some of these All-Star games. Clearly, we're not watching them.
All these stretches are not working.
855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Kind of buried the lead there. Tim Brown doesn't think Tom Brady should play next year. That was kind of a big one. And also, believes that if Josh McDaniels doesn't figure out the quarterback situation, he's probably on the hot seat. What else did Tim
He also said the Bengals should blitz the heck out of Patrick Mahomes to start the game.
He said
I thought that was interesting.
And he also said if he was Devontae Adams, he would not be happy with the situation if they draft a rookie.
Yeah.
It was a good interview.
Yeah. He's so nice that you don't realize he's kind of dropping some bombs.
He really was. He says it in such a nice way.
Oh,
He's like,
what a gentleman.
He just took out Tom Brady.
By the way, I didn't want to tell Tim.
He was just being very nice.
I whooped him in ping pong.
That's not true.
I absolutely destroyed him.
Dude, he's this good of a golfer. It means he has to be good at ping pong, golf, and tennis.
Is sneaky good at ping pong.
No, it was my home ping pong table. I'm pretty sure I beat Tim Brown. I beat Smoltz once.
What do you mean a home ping pong table? What does that mean?
It was the set at the Dan Patrick Show.
It was a studio.
No, I understand this, but do you have like home court, home?
It's like the Arrowhead of ping pong tables.
You know what side of the table is slicker than others, and where's the dead spot?
Look at the analytics, Mike. They're all right in front of you.
His home road splits are crazy. 855-212-4CBS. All right, we will get to the stat we couldn't get over. We couldn't get over this. We heard it. We're like, this has got to be fake. How can this be? We'll get into it next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff right after this.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
On Maggie and Perloff. Maggie and I, in the break, were dissecting everything Tim Brown said. It was a lot. He delivered it in a very, very nice and gentlemanly way, but he actually had some really interesting things to say. Most notably, he does not think the Raiders should pursue Tom Brady.
Nope.
He thinks Tom Brady looks old.
Yep.
And that you, looking at the Final Four, you need a mobile quarterback these days to win in the NFL. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl last year, and he doesn't move at all.
Yeah.
So, but I get what he's saying. You look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Mahomes when he's healthy, you look at Burrow, you look, well, Brock Purdy's different. Josh Allen, of course, runs around. So,
no, but Purdy gets out, like, it's not running like Josh Allen is, but it's getting out on those bootlegs and stuff. And, like, the thing about Stafford is he had Cooper Kupp on an all-time year. I mean, Cooper Kupp should have won the MVP last year. It was like he could stand there and deliver the ball to Kupp like he had, you know, he had some really nice weapons.
No, I know, but I think has there ever been a mobile quarterback to win a Super Bowl other than Mahomes? No, right? It's been Brady,
Steve
Nick
Young.
Foles, Steve Young. That was 1994.
It was a long time ago.
And also, he wasn't super mobile. That was at the end of his career.
Well, how about got to a Super Bowl? Do you have to necessarily win it? Like Cam Newton got to the Super Bowl.
No, I think you have to win it. To build a champion, you need a pocket quarterback, right? Isn't that the general thinking?
I mean, Russell Wilson won. He's not
because
pocket.
of the defense.
Well, they hung
right.
43 points on the Broncos in that game.
But look at it. It's been Stafford, Mahomes was mobile. Then you had a lot of Eli, Tom Brady, a non-mobile Big Ben, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles caught a touchdown.
Rodgers doesn't sprint down the field that much. He's mobile, but I wouldn't call him a mobile quarterback. Drew Brees obviously doesn't run.
I mean, Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Not the same. Not the same.
But maybe things are changing because these guys sure can run, but they get hurt. Mahomes gets hurt. He was running everywhere against the Jags. Anyway, that's really interesting for the Raiders. I'd like to see what they're going to do.
I think what's funny and what's most interesting about Tim Brown saying he does not believe that Brady should be in the plans for the Raiders is I think a lot of people are kind of penciling in Brady to sort of go to the Raiders because of McDaniels, because of the weapons. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but somebody put it on a website in Tampa, some grainy footage, but it looks like it is definitely Brady at a Miami, like, middle school or something, or a Miami Country Day, a Miami private school, taking a tour.
Okay.
When he has kids who are like 15 and 13 and 8.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well,
With Brady looking at schools in Miami.
So where do you rank? What's more important, the real estate agent or the looking at
the schools?
Because I know very well LeBron James supposedly looked at my high school in suburban Pennsylvania, and LeBron James is not in a 76ers uniform, so I do not buy into the school argument.
You realize you said, I know he supposedly.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'd like to see that application for Tom Brady's kids. Well, the funny thing was, I think Giselle hated Tampa Bay, right? Wasn't that rumor out there?
I don't know. I don't know if she hated Tampa.
Oh,
I don't think she liked Boston by the end. I think that was a bummer.
I've read that she could not stand being in Tampa Bay, and she wanted to be in a real city like Miami or New York.
Oh, okay. I mean, I like Tampa. Let's not hate on Tampa. It's beautiful there.
If you're Giselle Bunchkin and you're in the fashion industry, what is the city you want to be in?
Well, New York.
Or
L.A.
No, Miami's a gigantic fashion town.
I don't know. I could have kept guessing.
Well, I think it'd be Miami, New
Paris.
York. Miami's a hub of fashion. Tampa Bay is certainly not. And there's nothing against Tampa. I like Tampa too. But for
Got
Giselle,
the Dali Museum there? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. It's a staple.
Dali.
It's a staple when you go down for spring training. Let's go to David, who's in North Carolina. Picked up on something Perloff said. What's up, David?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Maggie, I need you to right the ship, ma'am. We cannot have Perloff resting on his teenage laurels as the family ping pong champion.
Yeah.
Perloff, take your sock puppet trophy, give it to your kids. Your glory days are gone, and get on with the show.
David, I'd like to see you bring your paddle to New York. I will take you down, too. I will take you down with your North Carolina-styled ping pong.
North Carolina style.
I have a low center of gravity, Perloff. I'll spank you.
Oh, one of those.
You know what? Do need that on the ping pong table. It was always so easy to figure out the kids who grew up with a ping pong table. You know it immediately. The way they serve the ball, it's like, you grew up with a ping pong table.
You mean that fancy sort of sidearm thing?
Yeah, they got these weird,
like Frank Caliendo used to pull that out. He used to come all the time, and he'd whip out he'd travel with a ping pong racket of his own, or paddle?
Yeah,
racket? Paddle. He had his own paddle, and it was
in a
crazy.
case?
Oh, yeah. He was obsessed with ping pong.
I mean, is that like someone showing up at the pool hall with their own stick?
Yeah, or even worse, when you show up with your own bowling ball, which is one thing at home. I know guys who travel with bowling balls.
That feels like a really stupid thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, but also, are you just like hustling up a game at a lane somewhere?
One year, I was working a lot with ESPN. A lot of the truck guys, the camera guys,
yeah, right.
All they do is they go to these different cities and go to bowling lanes and compete in bowling and drink beer.
And just like hustle people?
No, they play against each other, but they are very competitive. So you know how big an advantage. You're from Binghamton. Everybody's got their own bowling ball, I assume.
I mean, probably they do. That actually probably seems about right. Jared is in Las Vegas, traveling with your own bowling ball. I've never heard of that. What's up, Jared? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today, Maggie Perloff. First, I wanted to comment on Perloff giving fashionista advice. Are we really going to take our fashion advice from Andrew? Didn't he wear basketball tights to the studio?
Yeah, those were dope. What's wrong with that?
Performance pants.
For me personally, that is the worst basketball look. That coincides with the NBA downfall from the 90s that I loved, where it was grit and heart and pride, to whatever we have now.
It was the yoga pants were what brought down the league.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
For me, it totally has, actually.
These young guys come out and they have the full pant leg, they have the full shirt leg, and they kind of look like ballerinas more than NBA players. I totally understand what you're saying.
It totally signifies the pampered nature of the AAU class that now is NBA basketball.
I'm not signing off on that, but
anyway,
okay.
I digress. What I wanted to talk about was Tim Brown. And first of all, great interview with Tim Brown. He's a legend. First jersey I ever bought back when I got my first job in the mid '90s. First purchase I made was a Tim Brown jersey. So Thank you for having that guy on. I think he's spot on when he said that McDaniels put himself again in the same position. You think the guy would learn from what he did the last time, but come in, immediately alienate your franchise quarterback, start gutting the roster to the point where now you have backed yourself in a corner where if you don't make the perfect decision, it's going to be a disaster next year, and it will be a disaster next year. I wholeheartedly believe that. I don't believe that Tom Brady wants anything to do with McDaniels, and I think it'll show. When that happens, we'll see exactly how people really feel about Josh. It's interesting we don't hear anything from Cutler or from Marshall coming out since they see this playbook playing out exactly the way it did in Denver. I just feel like it is a disaster, and we're all going to sit back and watch this dumpster fire take place.
Man,
thanks for my time.
What a prediction, Jared. Hell of a call. Coming in strong on Perloff fashion and then over to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Was it Kyle Orton was on one of those teams too in Denver?
I mean, I forgot that he was there with Cutler. All I think about is the year he won a playoff game with Tim Tebow, which is one of the great miracles of all time.
Well, when it's Tebow, the miracles just come.
They drafted somebody the next year, right? Was it Cutler? No, was it Cutler who came in next year? So they got rid of Tebow. They passed on him, let him go.
I thought Josh McDaniels' first year, why am I thinking I'm picking up strong Kyle Orton vibes?
Definitely could have had Kyle Orton.
I thought he had Kyle Orton, and then they drafted Tebow.
But then he gave up on Tebow almost. Peyton Manning came. That's why.
Yeah, then it was 2015. No,
Peyton Manning came in 13.
In 13, you're right.
Yeah, so he gave up on Tebow to go Peyton. But
Kyle Orton was on that team. It was for Denver when McDaniels got there. It was Kyle Orton, and maybe it was the year before that he alienated Jay Cutler.
Right.
When he had.
So why didn't he?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he didn't coach Peyton Manning, did he?
No, he got fired. He had one season, then got fired midway through the second season.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, Tim Tebow, did he start after he won? Did he start the next year for them?
Yeah, remember they picked him in the first round.
No.
The next year after that?
In 2011, the starting quarterback, Tim Tebow, did start 11 games, went 7-4. Kyle Orton played a little bit, and that was about it.
Yeah. And alienated Cutler. Interesting. I mean, Cutler's got a podcast. I wonder if he's talking about
yes, you're right. It was Kyle Orton in 2009, McDaniels' first year, with a little bit of Chris Sims sprinkled in.
Was he on that team, too?
A little Chris Sims action.
All right.
Oh, boy.
I thought it was interesting. First of all, I think the fan base would turn on Josh McDaniels in a heartbeat. I don't think there's a lot tethering. Yes. Yeah, thanks. Stu was ready. Stu's like, where's my mic? I think it would turn on McDaniels in a heartbeat because he came in this season, and the beginning of the season, you dug yourself in a hole so big that all of a sudden you felt like you had this really good team, and they completely disappointed. So I don't think he's ingratiated himself to the fan base at all. Then you have the Derek Carr thing, which I don't know how ticked off people are about that. Maybe some, maybe not others. And now, what do you do at quarterback? I mean, Tim Brown did not mince words there. Tom Brady should not be part of the plan, and said McDaniels has painted himself into a corner. Because we had a tough time figuring out, if not Brady and if not Rodgers, and Rodgers, let's be honest, that feels like a little bit of a long shot, but if not Brady and if not Rodgers, then who? It's not an easy answer. I threw out Geno Smith. I got laughed at in the chat.
Lamar?
That's a long shot.
I think I screwed up something, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm a little lost here. Was John Fox the coach who coached Tebow into the playoff win?
No.
John Fox was the coach in 2011 after McDaniels got fired after 2010.
Okay, the game where they beat the Steelers?
Yeah, the Tebow Miracle game.
Yeah, that was 2010.
That was 2010. Okay.
All set?
Because I'm seeing something different.
Well, I mean, it either happened or it didn't. Perloff's going to work on that.
Oh, they played. Okay. Look on that. We got to make sure we have all these ducks in a row.
I'm sorry. No, 2011 was the year they beat the Steelers. That's correct. 2011 with John Fox.
Man.
But yeah,
Well, I've been making that up. I've been saying that all year.
It's just that McDaniels drafted Tebow.
Then he didn't even get to win with Tebow. Oh, my gosh.
He got fired after they went like 3-9, and he got fired.
Haven't I said it multiple times this year that Josh McDaniels won a playoff game with Tim Tebow, and I was dead wrong.
I think in the lexicon of like NFL history, we all have thought that McDaniels won a playoff game with Tim Tebow.
I think that's one of those myths out there that's just not true. Sorry about that. Because nothing.
We don't accept your apology.
And the reason why I didn't even think to correct you was because in my head I was like, of course it was McDaniels as that coach.
How about this? I'll do you one better. McDaniels as the head coach has never played in the playoffs.
Yeah, so
There you go.
you can't win with Tim Tebow in the playoffs if you're not in the playoffs.
He's also never lost in the playoffs, though.
Undefeated.
He's undefeated.
Poor Stu. Poor Stu with his Raiders.
8-8 the first year in Denver. Got fired after a 3-9 start in Denver, and then went 6-11 this year. And that's it for the Josh McDaniels resume. Yeah, I can understand why he's maybe on the hot seat if he doesn't figure out this whole quarterback.
Yep.
He's got to be praying for Brady to come. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Unless they've got something up their sleeves drafting a quarterback, that might be a little bit better job security. It wasn't for him in Denver, but...
When you read those record numbers, though, it didn't sound good, Maggie.
Yeah, I know. What was the first clue? Okay, coming up, we've got a lot to do. We've got awards to get to.
You got to explain to me, and I need to hear, somebody's got to explain Scott Rolen to me. And I'm putting it on you, Maggie. Come up with a case.
I've got to be the one to defend Scott Rolen getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
All right? If I must.
Somebody explain it to me.
Also, attention to the Grainers. Perloff as an Against the Grain coming up later on in the show. You don't want to miss that. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You can hear us on CBS Sports Radio all across the country, and you can watch us on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Come on in, hit subscribe, and come hang with us. All right, we got a CBS Sports update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flag.
Oh, 4 quarterbacks and Justin Jefferson are the finalists for the AP Most Valuable Player in the NFL. The others, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, the Bills, Josh Allen, and the 2 quarterbacks facing off in the AFC title game, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Meanwhile, Mahomes nursing that high ankle sprain today. Practiced and said he's all good to go. It's AFC Championship week. 2 of the NBA's best meet tonight in Milwaukee, where the Bucks host the Nuggets. Also a matchup of 2 of the league's best players. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic have combined for 4 MVPs. Antetokounmpo returned to the lineup on Monday and had 20 in the first quarter, while Jokic posted triple-doubles in each of the last 4 games, leaving his head coach Michael Malone gushing about his big man.
I just hope people really appreciate who he is, not just as a basketball player. And most fans, unfortunately, only see him as a basketball player because, they don't get to peek behind that curtain like Dr. Oz. And Nikola is just a tremendous dude, man. Like, he is humble, funny, great personality.
The Kings have been a great story, resulting in a contract extension for GM Monty McNair. They're currently 3rd in the West and will take on the Raptors tonight. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, it's DA. Be sure to listen to CBS Sports Radio at home. Ask Alexa to play CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So I need help. I read the headline last night that Major League Baseball player Scott Rolen will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I don't get it. Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. If you're as fired up as I am about this, I know Scott Rolen in the Hall of Fame might not be the biggest issue during the week of conference title games, but this guy's not a Hall of Famer, Maggie.
Why? Because the eye test says he's not?
The eye test.
Baseball is
what
not.
What numbers say that Scott Rolen is a Hall of Famer?
Okay, so listen, when I hear the name Scott Rolen, I also don't think Hall of Famer. I'll give you that. When Scott Rolen started on the Hall of Fame ballot, he had 10% of the ballot. You need 75% to get in.
Yeah.
So in the last 5 years, he's went from 10% to 75% without hitting a single, a double, a home run. It's kind of crazy. But what happens with baseball is that the numbers are so much a part of the sport, and the new statistics that people keep finding to describe baseball make you take a second look at guys like Scott Rolen. So turns out that his WAR of like 70 is basically the average of guys who are in the Hall of Fame if you take out the relief pitchers and the Veterans Committee guys. He's actually the 9th best third baseman of all time if you look at the metrics. I'm telling you. 7 of them are already in, and Beltre is on the ballot next year. As a defender, he's an 8-time Gold Glover.
What?
Listen.
Beltre, by the way, is definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Beltre's definitely in. So it's going to be.
Beltre's a way better player than Scott Rolen. I watched Scott Rolen for years in Philly. He was supposed to be the savior, and they couldn't win more than 60 games when he was their best player, and he wasn't even that good.
Well, those Philly teams were bad. They were losing 90 games a year, and so I don't think he was getting a lot of attention. And even if you are putting up numbers on a bad team, it's hard to get recognized, especially defensively.
But he wasn't putting up numbers, and who cares if he was a great defender?
But
he's a third baseman. What's the difference?
But the other thing is, like, the counting numbers aren't amazing for him, even though as far as like third basemen are concerned, he's 15th in home runs, 11th in runs scored. He's tied for 8th with 5 100 RBI seasons. 7th in OPS, 12th in OPS plus, if you're into that kind of thing. 7th in slugging. Like, you look back at it, and the numbers actually tell the story. This is one thing that MLB Network did that I thought was really interesting. So, Scott Rolen, by the numbers, is the 9th best third baseman of all time. Okay? MLB Network did the 9th best players at every position.
Give me
And I'll tell you who they are.
Yeah.
Catcher, the 9th best, Joe Mauer, who will be a Hall of Famer when he gets in, when he's eligible.
Yeah,
first
but
base,
Joe Mauer's not a strong Hall of Famer, but yeah.
Willie McCovey at first base. Second base, Roberto Alomar. Shortstop, Pee Wee Reese. Third base, obviously, Scott Rolen. Left field, Willie Stargell. Center fielders, Richie Ashburn. And right field is Tony Gwynn. All those guys, it's like, if you're going to take the 9th best of those, and Rolen is the 9th best third baseman according to these metrics, then it seems like he has to be in.
Ashburn took forever to get in.
Yeah, that's true.
He was not a strong. I know that from Philly. I don't get it. I'd like to see these metrics. And also, I think they're overrating fielding. I think the game has changed to the point where everyone knows home runs and walks win you titles. I just don't see. Scott Rolen obviously wasn't, whatever this combination wasn't a consistent winning player.
Well, he was injured for a lot, too. Like, the injuries really hampered him in the 30s.
But he wasn't a slugger in the steroid era. Like, that's the thing.
Because he wasn't on steroids.
But it was so much easier to hit in the steroid era because every pitcher was worn down. You saw so many fastballs.
Well, the pitchers were on steroids, too.
But everybody's numbers went crazy, either if you're on steroids or not in the steroid era. So a third baseman who peaks at 24 homers or whatever just doesn't do the job for me.
How about Donovan, who's in Oregon? Donovan, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Perloff, love the show. Maggie, you guys are great.
Thank you.
I've got a really weird comp for you for Scott Rolen.
Okay.
Throw out the 2,632 straight games and put Scott Rolen's numbers up against Cal Ripken. And I say that as a lifelong Orioles fan, and the only reason I am is because of Cal Ripken.
Mm-hmm.
He was an average hitter. Yeah, he hit 400 homers, 3,000 hits, but outside of and they were very similar in the Gold Glove department, but nothing really spectacular.
Ripken only a 2-time Gold Glover.
Yeah.
Scott Rolen an 8-time.
Is the Hall of Fame turning into the Hall of Good?
Yeah, but Ripken did it in a different era. Ripken started to rake at shortstop when nobody did that. Early 80s. Scott Rolen was doing it the easiest time in the history of the sport to hit home runs. Ripken, I think you have to adjust for time. That's the only, and I'm not a huge Cal Ripken guy either. I agree with you. He's a bit overrated because of the streak. But I think
He's a 2-time MVP.
1982 and 2004 are a lot different. That would be the difference to me.
Donovan, appreciate the phone call. Thank you for making it.
Also, he's a shortstop, so obviously
it's a little different.
Yeah.
The one thing I think that has gotten people really upset about the Scott Rolen thing is not only is it Scott Rolen, but it's just Scott Rolen. It's going to be Fred McGriff is going to be in for the Veterans Committee, but basically Scott Rolen gets a weekend. He's like a borderline Hall of Famer, and he gets the whole weekend all to himself.
Yeah, I don't understand Baseball Hall of Fame. I have an uncle in Cooperstown who complains every year about why are these classes so weak.
Coming up, a mystery team throwing their hat in the ring for Sean Payton.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
You're in a 5-minute break. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
softer, soccer players or soccer fans? Because the hatred I got all day by suggesting that Christian Pulisic didn't put his life on the line to score that goal. Somebody sent us a note. They said to Maggie and I that I owed an apology because he had a pelvic concussion. Guy had a typo.
Not a pelvic concussion.
No, the guy said pelvic concussion.
A pelvic concussion? There's no such thing. There's no brain rattling around there, although sometimes I think you guys are probably guided more by that than your brains.
Right, there's no
contusion.
I know there's no pelvic
Fancy
concussion.
word for bruise, which doesn't sound good at all. Pelvic contusion.
Better than pelvic concussion. That's a lot of rattling around on that. I honestly had Googled pelvic concussion last night to see, and you should have seen where it came up.
I hope that wasn't a work computer.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Glad to have you today. Been a fun show so far. We got a lot to do, so let's waste no time. Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Apparently, like nothing ever happened.
Oh, I am looking at our buddy James Palmer from the NFL Network just tweeted out video of him at practice. He's running around without a limp. How is that possible? He's jogging around, to be fair. Now, of course, game speed will be totally different. But then I also saw at Patrick Mahomes' press conference, he looked like a guy without a care in the world.
Well, he's probably happy he's playing in the AFC Championship game, and maybe he does feel better than expected.
I felt better than I thought I was going to be after the game. Moving on it during the game definitely hurt. But after the game, I was able to rest it and kind of ice it up and do different stuff like that. I felt in a little bit better position, and obviously the next morning felt a little bit better, and I've continued to get better throughout the weeks.
He ain't lying. I mean, he looks like he's doing a lot better.
What is going on here?
Listen, he's superhuman. I don't know. Tim Brown joined us earlier. He said he's had the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
This is back in his day.
He said he had to have a piece of felt attached to the most sore point and tie it on as tight as he could without losing circulation. It sounded very extreme. Mahomes, yeah, this is incredible. He looks much better.
Listen, I had a feeling that there was going to be a twist here this week. You know, it just seemed a little too obvious that Joe Burrow plays like Superman in the snow in Buffalo, embarrasses the Buffalo Bills a week ago. Mahomes in the first quarter, suffers the ankle sprain, comes back and plays on it, beats Jacksonville. So it would just set up, of course, Joe Burrow. This would be like the Red Sea parting for them to get to the Super Bowl. I felt like there was going to be a twist, and I think it's got to be Mahomes. Now, here's the thing. One of those defensive guys falls on his leg again. Who knows what's going to happen? It's football, but this has got to be a great sign if you're Kansas City.
No, I'm very curious. Will the line move back towards KC again now? I'm not sure. I thought it's got to be, if they're both healthy, could you make a good argument that this is a pick-em toss-up game, that there's not a significant difference?
Yeah, but I just because he looks good, I don't know if you'd say he's healthy. Like Jalen Hurts looked good last week. Do we think he's 100% healthy, though?
You're right, exactly right, especially his style of play. He's going to need a lot of mobility. But, man, if you're a Chiefs fan, you have to be breathing a sigh of relief right now.
Totally. Well, the line has come down. It's now Chiefs +1, where I think it gotten up to how high was it? 3 at some sports book. I'm looking at.
Yeah, then it came down to 1.5.
I'm looking at DraftKings.
I was so proud that I got on early when it was Bengals +1, and now that it's probably going to go back to Bengals +1.
Yeah.
If he's running around on Friday, I mean, it is at Arrowhead. That's one reason that the line will never get too far away from KC.
Yeah, but the Bengals have been so good on the road, it's almost like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but then again, Kansas City, as you know, at Arrowhead is also, that's a thing. And I know I know what happened last year, but it's still an impressive home field.
No doubt. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We're looking ahead now. Mahomes looking good. Out there jogging.
By the way, we saw a jog.
We did see a jog.
We're not quite
ready. And
ready
him walking out of the media room.
And him walking out of the media room looking very smiley and confident.
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with it.
Well,
you're like, he looks so happy. It's like, well, why would he look sad?
Injured guys, they just look different. You could tell when they're just sad.
You ought to be honest, like A.J. Brown looked on the sideline against the Giants. He looked like he was frustrated, and then we found out from Nick Sirianni that he's hurt.
You believe that?
Yes.
No, he was frustrated he wasn't getting targets. With no wide receiver, there's nothing else that wide receivers get mad about. All they care about is targets. They're sort of made that way. That's why they're so good. They want the ball every play.
That is true.
I don't believe that A.J. Brown was really hurt. I think he was mad about targets. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it.
All right. Let's check in on our buddy Aaron Rodgers.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
a lot. Sat down for an hour with McAfee yesterday, and it was a wide-ranging interview, as it usually is. But one thing we want to circle in on, we'll do a couple things, but first, Rodgers was asked several times, not just about his future, but his future outside of Green Bay, and what would that be like, and has he thought about it? So here's a little of Rodgers talking about, first, a potential separation from the Packers.
To be open to the possibility, if I want to keep playing, that it might be somewhere else. I understand that. I understand they might want to move on and go younger at a number of different positions. It's not with any malice. It's not with any animosity. It's with complete gratitude for an incredible organization that's done a ton for me.
Rodgers also talking about he's not afraid of change.
Change is a part of this business, it's a part of life, and being open to it and embracing whatever that change looks like is an important part of coming to peace with whatever decision lies ahead of you.
That's funny because he's been in the same team his entire career, so I don't know what he's talking about, but okay.
Well, other changes in your life, I guess. I don't know.
You mean breaking up with a famous person every 6 months? Yes.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, change, growth. These are all the buzzwords from the offseason. But he does actually sound like someone who would be at peace with leaving. Now, it doesn't, to be fair to Rodgers, it doesn't seem like he's looking for the first exit. He never gave that inclination, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out of here. He was just saying, like, he understands that this could be part of it, and I think he's made peace with it.
Right, but we've heard Aaron Rodgers claim that he's made peace with things. Remember he said that whatever journalists say will not bother me, and then he flipped out because Hub Arkish, I can't remember what.
Called him a...
Yeah,
he said he was... No. He
wouldn't vote for him for MVP because
he said
he's a bum.
like a bad guy or something.
Yeah,
and then Aaron called him a bum.
Aaron called him a bum. Yeah. Hub Arkish, longtime NFL reporter. So that was right after Aaron Rodgers said, I don't care what anyone writes about me. He clearly does care. So when he says he's at peace with change, I have trouble believing him.
He also, he says that he's got someone in his life who kind of keeps him up to speed on what people are saying about him on social media. And I'm like, is that like having an imaginary friend? Like, it's you. I think he's just scrolling.
No, a lot of athletes have their social media guy. He might be, who does their tweets and their Instagrams. Maybe it's that guy who's telling them.
Okay, but if you're Aaron Rodgers and somebody says, hey, someone's saying this about you, don't you say, hand me the phone, I'd like to see it for myself?
Of course.
Because he accuses everyone else of, just reading the headlines and not, he would be a fraud if he
Any athlete who says that, the athletes that say they don't care what anyone says are the most sensitive. I mean, didn't KD at one point say, I'm immune to what everyone says? And now it's been clear that he cares about what everyone, including any random Instagram user, thinks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think he's a bum. He's an absolute bum.
Not KD. We like KD.
No, KD's fine. So the funny thing about this, right, about Rodgers being open to change and thinking about where this could be. Now, we can talk about the Raiders and we can talk about Miami and stuff like that, but the one name that does keep coming up, and probably because a lot of people in the media live in the city we live in, is New York. Right, that the Jets might be an attractive situation. And we know the Jets really want to go after a veteran quarterback. Zach Wilson's been a bust. And there's just so much of the similarity because Favre was traded to the Jets also. So there's all of this in there. And then there's this idea that how would Rodgers handle New York City? To be honest, I don't think this would be a huge issue for him. But if he is sensitive and his radar is up on what people say about him, New York would be like living in hell for him, because you're going to be talked about all the time with a negative spin. That's just how it is in New York. If you win, they'll love you. But if it's anything short of that, you've disappointed and you're not living up to expectations. It's really all or nothing in New York. And I think he would just be annoyed by it more than anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this could sound weird, but he could disappear a little bit with the Jets because there's so much lower profile in the Packers. I mean, and there's so much less pressure. No one would expect him to win. When Favre went to New York, it was like a vacation. He disappeared from the NFL scene because they weren't good. And I don't know, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to have no pressure with the Jets because the Jets haven't won in a decade. He'll have pressure, but if he went to the Cowboys, he better win now. I mean, there are certain teams where he would have to go and he would have to get to the Super Bowl. No one's going to say that about the Jets. So there'd be a little bit of break. Yeah, there'd be a lot of media attention. Yeah, there'd be the back page. But he is There's no way. He gets more attention than any football player in the world.
Do you remember when Tebow went to the Jets?
Yeah, but Tebow got attention. Tebow could go to dinner in Denver. Tebow's wildly popular nationally.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers is?
Right, I'm just saying, and it doesn't matter. Tebow was like that everywhere. Tebow in New England would get hundreds of people who came to watch him
I know,
practice.
but so would Rodgers. Like, that's my point. I think Tebow and Rodgers are on the same level fame-wise.
Right. Tebow got it everywhere, not just New York. He could not go to restaurants anywhere in this country.
But
Same with Rodgers.
And even he thought New York was particularly tough.
But honestly, Rodgers, what New York Jet even goes to New York? It's way out in the burbs of New Jersey. It's not even a New York team. I don't think the Jets is a high-pressure situation at all for him.
Here's the thing about the Jets. It's not, you're right, nationally, the Packers are much more of a national brand than the New York Jets. But New York has a way of being a fishbowl. And if you've got somebody who's given you everything that's said about you on social media or everything that's said about you, it's just a lot of noise.
But the social media is not bigger on Jet. Do you think Chad Pennington got more attention than, say, Tony Romo? No, of course not.
No, but in New York, it probably felt to him like he was getting as much attention as Tony Romo because everyone's talking about you all the time in the city, and then everyone's coming back and saying, did you hear what so-and-so said about you? And did you hear what so-and-so said?
Aaron Rodgers, there's no way. How can people talk about Aaron Rodgers more? There going to be more people talking about Aaron Rodgers? Everybody talks about him every single day.
Well, you're right about that, but think about Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson should just be a nobody. We talked about the national media latched on to Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, nobody talks about Zach Wilson.
We asked Ryan Leaf about Zach Wilson the last time he was on.
He was a bust, but Zach Wilson is one of the lower profile quarterbacks in the NFL. Nobody cares about it. The Jets are at 1 o'clock every Sunday. They have no interest to anyone.
They wouldn't be with Rodgers. It's not even.
They wouldn't be with Rodgers.
It's almost not even about. Well, it is about the football. Of course, it's about the football, but it would be about everything else too, right? It's just
like what?
Well,
like going to the Applebee's in Florham Park or whatever. No, wherever that town in Jersey.
Yeah, Florham Park.
I don't understand. What Rodgers lives in L.A. for half of the year and it dates celebrities. It goes to Puerto Vallarta with Miles Teller. What does he care what Connor Hughes says about it?
Okay. If Geno Smith had gotten punched in the Chargers locker room, do you think that it's still the same? Because that was such an LOL, like, unfortunately for Geno, but that was such a huge story. If Rex Ryan
it just wasn't outside New York.
But in New York it was.
In New York it was, but nobody knew the guy's name who punched Geno.
If Rex Ryan had stayed with the Baltimore Ravens, do you think that he would be this big TV figure?
He got famous because of Hard Knocks, not because of New York.
Well, he was the coach of the Jets.
Right, but if he had been doing all that cursing on the Ravens, he would have been a huge figure. No, the Jets do not play nationally. I'm very positive. They're in the bottom half of the league.
But I'm saying not nationally.
But what does Aaron Rodgers care about what people in New York? He's not going to listen to WFAN.
He listens and cares what people say about him in Green Bay.
No, he doesn't. He listens only to national shows. I know. I've heard him talk about it. He's totally clued in on everything ESPN does.
Well, let me tell you, and I don't listen to everything on Green Bay radio. I know we're on a Green Bay, and we love it. But I would imagine the tenor and the tone is much different on radio in Green Bay than it is in New York. Right. I'm not saying that they're not critical or anything, but in New York, I know because I did it. You're finding tension all the time.
And guess what? The last thing on earth Aaron Rodgers has ever heard is the radio in Green Bay. Why would he be listening to the radio in Green Bay when Stephen A. Smith is leading every single show with him right now? He's the face of ESPN. He gets so much coverage. It's unbelievable. He doesn't have. Who cares what the local radio says?
Well, I think he's one of those guys that he does care. I think it's like KD. We wonder, why does KD care about what random Instagram person says? Some guys just care.
Do you think that Favre had a hard time handling the New York media?
Favre was a whole disaster here, as it turns out. That was a whole other situation.
Yeah, he wasn't having issues with the media. He was having issues with other
in the
things.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that had nothing to do with the New York Park.
But Favre is also one of those guys he's media savvy. Like, he knows how to handle the media. Rodgers is one of those people who he would antagonize the media. Yeah. And New York media does not get antagonized. They will fight back.
He does not care about New York media at all. And by the way, Brett Favre didn't come to New York City once in his entire tenure. I don't think he crossed the river into Manhattan the entire time he was a Jets quarterback.
Well, the other part, too, I don't know about that. But the other thing about Favre is they went 9-7. Like, as far as Jet seasons go, that's a success. You know, he ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, and they were like 6-1 or something before he hurt his elbow. And like they were rolling. They were playing really well.
So that bought him a little bit of time. I mean,
okay. Do you think you look?
Aaron Rodgers cares about what everybody
Do you
says
think
about
anybody
him. Why wouldn't he care suddenly in New York if you're splashed across the back pages?
He could care less. Because he is already splashed across the back pages and he lives in Green Bay.
I know, and it bothers him when he
says it doesn't bother him.
100% attention. He's at 100%. There's no 110% attention because the New York Daily News has a clever cover. He's got so much hype in his life that he could handle this easily.
No, I think it's the daily interactions. It's not like the back pages or what the Post writes or what people tweet.
He doesn't.
It's reporters and writers and media people being in that room every single day, every week, at practice, after games, after good games, after bad games, and it's going to be constant media attention. And then plus, you get media attention in New York because there's all these other media outlets here that you just don't have in Green Bay. He's going to constantly be surrounded. He's going to be stalked, paparazzi, all that stuff.
No, let me ask you a question, though. When Chad Pennington was a quarterback for Jets, was it like that?
No, because he was Chad Pennington.
Yeah, it's not Aaron Rodgers. Like
or when Vinny was the quarterback.
But half the
because he's Vinny. No,
this idea that the Jets are some difficult place to play. I've not
Sanchez
heard that.
had it.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez
was not because he's from USC and is a matinee idol. But even that, it wasn't that.
But
hard
he was
to play
also
there.
a media like he was bigger. Tebow was like that for like
stuck in the New York bubble.
3 games. Tim Tebow.
Okay, but we're stuck in the New York bubble. But that's where Rodgers would be.
No, you guys, you understand, nobody cared about Sam Darnold in America except New Yorkers. Sam Darnold is a nobody. He could walk down the streets of
and Aaron
any
Rodgers
other
is not
city.
a nobody. Aaron Rodgers is a somebody.
Being the Jets quarterback doesn't even matter. It's not that hard.
But Sam Darnold is also another all-time bust. Yeah, he was terrible. Rodgers comes in as a walk-in Hall of Famer and a 4-time MVP and a Super Bowl champ. It's totally different.
But you have to admit, the pressure would definitely be less on Rodgers if he was the Jets than if somehow he ended up in Dallas.
No, the one thing about the pressure, to win, I probably not much. But the thing is the Jets are also the Jets. So you can come in with a great reputation. You can come in and unless you're one of those teams that played in 2009 and 2010 that got to the back-to-back AFC championship games, most likely your reputation probably takes a hit if you play here.
Maybe, but
because the organization, sorry, Samter, but the organization has a way of finding embarrassing things.
But I think you have a lot less risk of killing your reputation here in New York because nobody's going to expect you to go to the Super Bowl, where there's a lot of teams Rodgers could go to where it's going to be like, he could have a Brett Favre in his final year in Minnesota or Tom Brady last year.
No, I agree with you about the Super Bowl expectations, but it's all the other stuff about
Also, Rodgers was pretty bad this year, so I think the bar is a little low.
But the team who acquires him, if they do trade for him, is not going to expect last year's Aaron Rodgers. They're going to expect 2010 Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
whether that's fair or unfair, that's what it's going to be.
To me, a quarterback like Dak Prescott is under so much pressure.
Well, he hasn't won yet.
Yeah, I know. I don't feel like the Jets quarterback is one of the higher profile jobs in the NFL.
855-212-4CBS. I don't think it's the Jets quarterback. I think it's Rodgers in New York. You got to think about it that way. 855-212-4227.
Look at Russell Wilson in Denver. He became the sole focus of the entire United States of America, and he was in Denver. It didn't matter if he was in New York. How many people were talking about Russell Wilson? Everybody.
I mean, because it was epically bad.
I know.
Embarrassingly
it doesn't matter if it's Denver or New York. All 32 NFL teams are national. Every single one of them, even the Houston Texans. There's no local. This isn't baseball.
I disagree. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Rodgers open to change. Where should he go? If indeed that change comes. We want to hear from you. You can hang out with us on youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We're across the country on all CBS Sports radio stations, our amazing affiliates. You can also download the free Odyssey app, and that's where you can find us. We're on SiriusXM as well. Bottom line, we're everywhere. We're in your dreams. Maggie and Perloff, don't go anywhere. More after this, including a major hiccup in one MVP's future. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Okay, back on Maggie and Perloff. A high ankle sprain is not really your ankle. It is the ligaments that connect the tibia and the fibula just above the ankle have been stretched out. So that makes sense because if you put in your mind what happened to Patrick Mahomes when he planted, it was his leg. It didn't feel like he twisted his ankle. But, man, we're flabbergasted by how he was jogging without a limp because he looked beat up on Sunday, Maggie.
I'm telling you, I know that Romo was like, there's no way he's going to be able to be 100%. Like, I don't know, even since probably Tony's time in the league, which was not that long ago, I feel like they keep getting better and better in terms of treating these injuries, and he looked fine. We're watching video, and he looks like himself at practice.
I feel like as a Big J journalist, maybe Tony Romo should not have weighed in so vociferously on Patrick Mahomes' ankle during the game.
Because we all wanted to know.
He set the narrative for the week, not really knowing what was going on. I don't think Tony had an MRI yet when he made that assumption. But in effect, everyone was talking about, Romo said he's going to be barely going to be able to practice. Yeah. You know, he's out there flinging the ball around.
You know, Romo's just talking. Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers and his next destination. Paul's in Wisconsin has a thought. What's up, Paul?
Hey, nice talking to you guys.
You too.
When they traded Adams, they could have had 2 number 1 picks like in 2022 and 2023, but instead they take, a 1 and a 2 in 22, leaving the Raiders, number 1 picks in 23 and 24, so that way, they can just unload Rodgers over there for a couple number 1 picks. And
wait, what? Is this true? Do we have any verification? Do you have a second source there? So you're saying that they were offered the 2 number 1s.
They had the franchise tag on them, so then when you franchise tag a player, they're supposed to get a number 1 in 22 and 23, but the Packers decided just to take number 1 and number 2.
I think it's not to get too bore everybody. There's 2 different types of tags. And if you do the non-exclusive versus the exclusive, if you do the non-exclusive and another team comes in and ends up taking the player, then you get 2 first-round picks back.
But this was a trade, right? Oh, I see. So you're saying they took the trade instead of waiting for the tag to work out. Okay.
Well, because they tagged them and then traded them. And then what the Raiders did to Derek Carr towards the end of the season, they didn't really need to do that with 2 games to go, but then they kind of severed the ties with them, just kind of smooth the path for Rodgers to come to L.A.
To Vegas. You think that's how it's going to work?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I hope they do something quick though, because being in Wisconsin, it's just 3 years of this with Favre and now 3 or 4 years with this with Rodgers. It's just like, let's rip the Band-Aid off and do something here. So.
Yeah, Paul, I think you're speaking for what we're hearing from a lot of Packer fans, which is just a little bit of the fatigue, and you're coming off a down season. Now, here's the thing. If you guys had won that game against the Lions in Week 18, would everyone be singing a little bit of a different tune?
Absolutely.
Make it into the playoffs. You probably end up, losing to the 49ers, but listen, a lot of teams lose to the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers lose to the 49ers a lot.
Especially
even when they're full strength.
And maybe now everyone's like, well, the season started off poorly, but look how it ended. I think everyone would be feeling a little bit differently, but the Packers were bad in that game against the Lions.
But I don't want to criticize the caller, but Paul set us all up for a definitive. The Raiders and Packers have been planning this all along. You said, so you think they planned this? He goes, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I mean,
he had such a good setup.
It was a good setup. They wanted the 2 picks last year as opposed to a pick last year and a pick next year.
I'm not exactly sure that it worked out.
We got to do some more forensics.
Yeah. We need Joel Corey, CBS salary cap insider, on that one.
How about Sean in Oregon? What's up, Sean?
I got a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
If you were running a team or a business, would you want Aaron Rodgers a part of it?
Is he playing quarterback for my team? Yeah.
Not so much that. I'm talking about just the way he talks and the way he deals with his press conferences and everything else. Would you like that guy the way he talked about his COVID vaccination and the way he was dishonest with America about that? Do you like people like that working for you?
Well, I mean, listen, Sean, you're right. Rodgers didn't do himself any favors with that, and now he really plays up like everyone was holding this against me. It's like, well, because you misled people, you know? Like, he seems to kind of forget that part of it. That's why people, I think, had some outrage towards him and felt a certain type of way, is not because he didn't get the vaccine. It's because he led people to believe that he had gotten it when he didn't. I mean, that was a hot-button issue at the time.
He was immunized, Maggie.
Yeah, we know that. How about this? So this one is, and thank you for the call, Sean. This one is in honor of everyone who's in the YouTube chat today, because you guys are nuts. Everyone talks about 420, and you guys are like a bunch of teenagers. But I got to be honest, when I heard this one from Rodgers talking to McAfee, I was like, is he stoned?
You ever think about how kind of strange waterbeds were? I mean, it's a weird invention.
They're awesome. Hey, they had a run, though, right?
Sweet. It was like driving a DeLorean and sleeping in a waterbed. That was like tip top, right? It was those two things.
He's laughing at his own. He's laughing at his own observations, talking about waterbeds, just like
that is weird.
Just out of nowhere. He was the one who mentioned waterbeds, and then he's the one who brought it back around.
Do you think he just watched the movie Licorice Pizza where the character was a waterbed salesman?
Was a waterbed salesman.
And then where'd the DeLorean come from? Was that? I thought waterbeds were 70s, DeLoreans were 80s, but
well, DeLorean's definitely 80s because it's Back to the Future, right? Was the DeLorean, and then. I gotta be honest, waterbeds, I had one. My brother, so my brother is 4 years older than me, and my parents actually got him a waterbed when he was in like maybe middle school or maybe high school. Then my brother, after 9th grade, went to boarding school in Massachusetts. So I, of course, took his room immediately. And then I got the waterbed, and I was like in 7th grade. I had a waterbed all the way up to when I graduated from college.
How was
high school.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
I would not like it.
I mean, I'm not like, I couldn't have like a bad back. I was like 15.
Yeah,
you don't have like back issues. You're not worried about it.
My sleep number is 85. I could not deal with a water.
It was okay. Thinking back on it now, I was like, man, that's kind of cheesy to have a waterbed. Like, what am I, a single bachelor? Like, living in New York City?
Honestly, like a lava lamp in the corner.
Yeah, about to have
leather couch.
Fondue party, maybe wear a Speedo and a robe.
Like a key party.
Yeah. No, there's a certain lifestyle that goes with waterbeds. If you know what I mean.
Instead, it was like me with like, I don't know. A duvet cover with like flowers on it. I was not the waterbed.
Did people
type.
in Binghamton, New York know you had a waterbed? Because I think
my friends did. They made fun of me endlessly.
Yeah, I would think you'd be an outcast for that. And rightfully so.
No, I think I was kind of, in middle school, I think people were kind of envious. Like, oh, cool, waterbed. It's like.
Yeah. I could see a 12-year-old thinking that's cool.
And I think my mom probably said at some point, like, we should probably get rid of the waterbed.
And you never sprung a leak?
Never.
See, that was my big concern about a waterbed. It was like, I will absolutely pop this at some point.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to be like, I'm going to drown myself at night.
You don't weigh that much. You can't pop it.
No, you're not popping it from my weight. And just like, I'm just going to roll over and kick it or like something's
Sorry, we were not believing that high school Samter was going to be rolling around too much in the waterbed.
That kind
Good luck, though.
No.
Touche.
Nice try.
Yeah, and not to not to get intimate, but how does that work? Is that good on a waterbed? Does anyone know? Maybe call in.
Clue.
I have no idea.
No,
I mean, considering what you associate waterbeds with, I would assume it probably was pretty good for that.
The motion of the ocean, you know? I just laughed at my That was bad.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers. I was saying, you got it out before me. I was about to say the motion of the ocean. But then again, I feel like somebody who has a waterbed probably is the kind of person who talks more than actually walks the walk.
You're right about that.
Yeah, they get the waterbed because they're trying to entice people to get into the waterbed.
I imagine from the woman's point of view, now thinking back on it, if I was like, dating, like, 20s and whatever, and I walked in and a guy had a waterbed, I would Grandpa Simpson meme out of there. It was just like, do, and turn around, and I am gone in an Uber before you can even
do the Homer Simpson meme, just slowly crawl back into the bushes.
It could be Homer Simpson or the Grandpa Simpson. Both of the memes play.
Wait. Homer Simpson's backing into the field, and Grandpa Simpson's coming. That's one of my favorite episodes, by the way. Bart's a doorman at a burlesque show.
Hang up the hat, put the hat back on and leave.
Yeah, I'd like to hear someday what are your immediate walk out the doors when you're a single woman. Waterbed, but you might not be able to tell if the guy makes his bed. You're not sure it's a waterbed, but he probably told you if he had a waterbed.
No, probably. Well, the moment you sit down, it's like, oh, is this a waterbed? I gotta go. Later.
That's tough though. Like the moment you're probably getting onto the bed, and it's probably at that point, it's almost like, past the point of no return.
No, it's never past the point of no return. It's called consent, brother. But I feel like it would be, I'd get VD'd. That's what I'd be worried about.
You're probably not sitting on the bed first. You're probably going onto the bed, and at that point, you're kind of...
You can get up at any time. Anytime.
Yeah,
This is true.
Second you sit down on that bed, say, one moment, I just have to call my doctor and get some penicillin before we do this. Wait, what are some other red flags? Dirty bathroom, that's bad, right?
Oh, it's the worst.
Picture of his mother on the wall.
That sounds bad. But I don't know anyone who does
Someone who likes their mom, though, that's not a bad thing.
No, I think like a framed picture on like a countertop with you and the mom is one thing, but like
hanging on the wall,
a hanging wall picture of the mom looking right at you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever dated a guy who had a picture of his mom.
Oh, I've seen them before.
Really?
For women?
Have you had one?
Men, like pictures of their mothers on their wall, and I'm like, that's weird, dude. They're like, that's my mom. I'm like, no, it's weird.
Yeah, but on the flip side, you don't want someone who's like, yeah, I really haven't spoken to my mom in like 10 years. I'd be like, oh, that's sad, or whatever. Then you get into a whole other thing. What other red flags?
A messy apartment?
Yeah, but like, it depends what's our level. Yeah. If certain things, like if it's a little cluttered or whatever, if you have roommates or something, but if like the dirty dishes in the sink or the bathroom's a mess.
How about an adult?
The tub, guys,
yeah,
the tub.
Right. How about an adult who has too much sports memorabilia on his wall? You walk into his place and it looks like a sports bar.
Yeah.
That's okay. You would like that. Actually, that'd be an attraction for you.
I'd be like, oh boy.
Weird
fellow suffering Mets
Why
fan.
did you want to go out with me? That's what I want.
Some weird pet, like a ferret running around.
I wouldn't like that. Or like people pet rats or snakes or something.
Yeah, but a snake's at least in like an enclosure. I feel like that's fine. It's almost like a fish tank. It's almost more decorative.
No,
than anything else.
they always escape.
Do you know what was a red flag for me as a man?
Yeah, tell me.
Nothing.
Come in, picture the mom on the wall, water bed. You're like, let's go.
Boyfriend standing there with a shotgun, maybe, but not really.
A line of hands and toes just like hammered onto the wall. That's fine.
Somebody already tied to the bed, misery style. Depends how many beers I had, I guess.
No such thing as a red flag in your book.
Does not exist.
It's like smells like a rotting carcass. You're like, give her a chance. She's a good gal. You just don't understand her. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Well, think of some more. I'll think of some more red flags. There's definitely more.
Axe got some red flags. I'm sure. No, I'm sure your apartment has no red flags. What do you got?
Oh, well, forget it. I'm the biggest slob there is.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You don't come across that way.
Oh, yeah. I was actually nervous when I had the cleaning girl come in. I'm like, how's she gonna react?
She might quit.
And then like 3 hours later, I'm like, how did you do this? Like did like a whole army come in while I was gone and figure it out?
So did you get really anxious when a woman does come to your apartment? Do you get nervous?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I get nervous anyway. So
you don't own a waterbed, do you?
You own a waterbed? Maybe that's what you're missing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of those, the disco balls and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
How about if you come in and the guy's got a race car bed like a kid? Is that bad?
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
So.
Would my feet be hanging off the end?
You have to go vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
God.
I wouldn't. That would probably be a walkout. If you made that sound, I would run out. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4CBS.
I just got new rims.
David's in the chat. Mess is one thing, dirty is another.
On the car bed. What are you talking about?
I don't know, Stu. Can you dump that last second, that last few minutes of Samter?
Honestly, I didn't even pick up on it, but Perloff said off the air, dude. I don't think Samter still knows what he said.
We're talking about a car bed. You're much dirtier than mine.
We have to go to a break. Rich Ackerman.
Someone said Playboy magazine on the table. Mm-hmm. I'd probably walk out.
Yeah.
I'd probably walk out. 855-212-4CBS. Coming up, whatever. For CBS. No, we have something. We've got Perloff's Against the Grain. Oh, we've let it go this whole time.
I don't know how I'm going to recover or bring us back on track.
Greeners, get ready. We need you. Time for CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich.
Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes meet in the AFC title game once again. The two are also among the finalists for the Most Valuable Player Award. Also up for it are the Eagles' Jalen Hurts, the Bills' Josh Allen, and the only non-quarterback in the group, Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson. As for Mahomes, he said he's good to go despite the high ankle sprain. It's AFC Championship week. Kevin Durant will miss another 2 weeks with the Nets, but they are starting to figure out life without him after winning back-to-back games. They're in Philadelphia tonight. Kyrie Irving is coming off a tremendous weekend featuring 86 points and 20 assists. He said it's what they're doing on defense, though, that's made the big difference.
Got to make it tough. Some nights we're going to put points on the board very easily. Guys are feeling good, and some nights we're going to have to really rely on our poise, really rely on our defensive pressure. And let that lead us to wins.
The Sixers are back home tonight after completing a 5-0 road trip. Joel Embiid and James Harden set out the finale. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Jim Rome here. Coming up Thursday in the Jungle, a conversation with Packers wideout Romeo Doubs and a What's Your Beef segment. See you Thursday at 12 noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Our Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Today's question comes from James, who's in Denver. Reports now there's a mystery team who's vying for Sean Payton. Who do you think it is? Don't forget, you can submit a question by going to cbssportsradio.com/askthepros or tweeting it at CBS Sports Radio using the hashtag #AskThePros. I can understand why someone in Denver might be interested in that because thought Denver might be the front runner for Sean Payton. Now, this is a report from Diana Rossini.
I started with Jeff Duncan, who co-wrote a book with Sean Payton, really close to him.
Okay.
Said there's a mystery team that is getting its ducks in order to shine Sean Payton. Now, obviously, it feels like Sean Payton's camp is putting this out. There's also reports today Sean Payton hasn't gotten a single second interview, and there's nobody that wants him, which I find...
Who put that out?
Well, not that nobody wants him, but there's no situation. Well, when you put out $25 million a year, you're turning off a lot of teams.
Well, that and the draft pick.
Yeah.
Picks, whatever it's going to take.
I think there's a possibility that there's no perfect situation where Payton thinks the team is good enough and the team wants to invest those picks and that money when they're not close to a Super Bowl. If you had to guess a mystery team, there's one obvious one.
Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Or maybe the Chargers.
I really don't see that.
You think they would have moved on if... I mean, if they were going to move on from Staley.
The Chargers, if he really wants $20 to $25 million, I think the Chargers would be smart to spend it. But there's so many reporters who know that team who say that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and it's just the capital and the salary.
How about Miami?
I don't think they're moving on from McDaniels.
I don't either, but that's why this is a mystery team.
Listen, to be fair to McDaniels, I don't know if he's a great coach, but they did go into Buffalo with a third-string quarterback and had a chance to win the game in the playoffs. I mean, how do you fire a guy after that?
Why do you think he's not a great coach? When Tua was on the field, they were the best offense in the league.
Yeah, I'm just not sure. Like, I don't know if that's as sustainable. Is this the first-year bump? Is this real? Like, you got to give it a little time.
Right. But he certainly showed some chops his first season because that offense was flying. Yeah, I don't know what else. The other, if it's about being with Tom Brady, then you'd think Tennessee, but no, they love Vrabel.
Yeah, you're not going to get rid of Vrabel. Vrabel has more power now. He got the GM. He didn't get the GM fired. But
Chicago has not said anything about being unhappy with Eberflus. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, is the surprise team New Orleans and he just goes back and they sign Brady? I don't know.
That's tough. They have just no room to move there. They have no salary cap space, no draft picks. I don't see it.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So the bottom line is the mystery team. We have no idea.
It's a mystery.
They may remain a mystery. Okay, we're talking about dating red flags. Ryan, and that was off the Aaron Rodgers talking about waterbeds conversation. Ryan is in Vancouver, Washington. He's got a red flag. Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Hey, my biggest red flag anytime I see a girl who is obsessed with everything Disney, just drop everything, turn and run. There's something wrong there.
You know what, Ryan? It pains me because one of my friends is really into Disney, and she's totally a normal person who's awesome, but she is very into Disney. It's like a family thing, but yeah. Adults super into Disney. I just am not seeing it. Maybe I'm the one missing out. I don't know.
I don't have like random Disney hanging up all over my place, but I don't, but I'm pretty hardcore into Disney.
You're super hardcore into Disney.
Yeah, I love Disney.
Do you know that people judge you for being an adult into Disney?
So wait, have you gone with your wife without kids?
Say again?
How many times have you gone to Disney World without kids? I know you just had a kid.
not Disney World. I just love all things Disney.
So you never went on a trip to Disney World alone or with your wife?
No, like my parents. But yeah, no, not to Disney World. But that's more
you're not into Disney. Go to Disney World. There are people who are into Disney, like wear goofy hats on their day-to-day
like all things like Disney and Disney, like, Frozen and Cinderella and
with no
Tangled.
kids, just as adults.
Wait, what do you mean? I'll sit at home alone, like if it's a Friday night and Tangled is on, like, oh, sweet, I love this movie.
Wait, that's where you are? Yeah.
Well, not anymore. Now I'm married and I do have a daughter, but about 5 years ago, I'd sit at home and watch.
As
Frozen
someone in their
myself.
30s, you would sit by yourself alone and watch a cartoon.
Now, I don't think that's a
top 5 favorite movie.
Yeah, I don't think you watching Tangled 5 years ago is a red flag. I think it's a red flag on fire on top of a mountain. What are you doing? You were sitting at home alone 5 years ago watching Tangled?
Yeah,
that's insane, dude.
I wouldn't intentionally be like, oh, Tangled is on, I got to stay home. But if I was home and it was on, I would watch it and I would sing along to it.
Okay, we got to get to Jason here.
Does HR know about this? I'm really rattled by this story.
Jason is in Myrtle Beach. That was quite an admission there, Samter. You got a red flag story for us, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. You guys might need to try to track that phone number of that last guy. I don't know what's going on there. But look,
he's our producer.
Red flag, bro. So I was a sophomore in college, and I met this chick at a bar, and for like 4 months, it was awesome. Like, there were no red flags. I met her folks. Everything was cool. Her friends were cool. And then one night, I'm sitting in her crib, and we ordered a pizza, and she decided that she was going to go pick it up. So she goes and picks it up, and I start snooping around her place. I'm like, I'm really starting to dig this chick. And then I look under her bed, and there's like 6 to 8 like Gerber baby food jars that are just packed full of toenail and fingernail clippings. I don't know if they were hers or whose they were or whatever. I didn't stick around to ask her. I didn't get any of the pizza. I bounced and never talked to the chick again because, to me, that's a red flag right there.
Oh, my God. Jason, you're lucky to be alive.
Yeah.
That woman brought you to her house to kill you and take your toenails.
No.
I'm so happy you're not dead.
Love the show.
Thank you.
Rex Ryan just called and said, that's hot.
Rex wants her number. Oh, my God.
That really grossed you out. I could tell that hit a nerve.
And I'm not like a grossed out by feet person, but fingernails and toenails, that's disgusting.
Yeah, okay, so I get yelled at by my wife. We're not allowed to clip our toenails in any room except the bathroom. What are you guys doing?
I don't think you have to necessarily be in the bathroom. You have to be collecting them in your hand and then throw them in the garbage.
But there's always shrapnel that just goes off onto the rug, though.
You got to vacuum.
All right. Immediately vacuum?
Yes. Guys,
Fair.
yes.
I mean, I don't collect them in Gerber baby jars. I mean, that Gerber baby jar was a disturbing part of it, too, because, wait, is this a mother? Like, why does she have Gerber baby food jars?
You know, it's funny. When he said the Gerber, I was like, oh, no. And, like, is she eating the baby food? Because that would probably be a red flag, too.
No,
you can't have an adult eating
red flag is she has a baby. That would be even bigger. A more normal.
How does she have these Gerber baby jars? From where?
Yeah, so she was hiding the baby under the bed. That would be a real red flag.
Maybe it's
you had a baby this whole time?
Maybe it's a split custody kind of thing. Not hiding a baby under a bed or eating Gerber baby food.
Yeah, you might want to be forthcoming with people if you've procreated before you date them.
Yes, Mike is not weighing in on this because he has a 9 o'clock viewing of Pocahontas tonight.
There aren't many Disney movies that I'm not a big fan of. Pocahontas wasn't my favorite.
So he answered that so seriously.
I said this. My daughter is studying Pocahontas in Jamestown, Virginia, in class. So she goes, "Let's watch Pocahontas together." 1990. They were trying to be politically correct. It is the most impolitically correct, trying to be politically correct movie you've ever seen.
Oh, they have to put disclaimers now on all the Disney movies.
Yeah.
Like, we realize that this is a totally insensitive stereotyping, and we're sorry, but we're still going to let you watch it.
And we thought 1995 was Evolve.
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
No. Thank you to Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Hall of Famer Tim Brown, who said doesn't want Tom Brady going to the Raiders.
Thank you to the songwriters of Frozen and Pocahontas.
You guys in the chat, the callers, you're awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.